By the way, Kat, just let me know when you have maybe a minute or two. LevelBest wanted to share some words with the stream.
Oh, for sure.
So whenever's a good time.
Yeah, LevelBest, if you'd like to. Right now is a great time.
Oh well.
Hey, how you doing, ladies?
Doing pretty good. Oh no, you're
didn't
fine.
want to be disrespectful at all. Thank you so much for letting me be here and have a chance to speak. What's going on, everybody? If you're unfamiliar with me, I'm TheLevelBest. And for those of you who are truly here to support the cause, you read the title, NoReset Speedrun, Resident Evil Marathon benefiting the Bill Project, and most importantly, what comes after that is hashtag Black Lives Matter. I know these games are really fun and something that a lot of us are very passionate about. I myself I'm probably one of the biggest Resident Evil fans here. Me and G-Virus could probably go back and forth on who's the bigger one.
Where's me?
but regardless, they are very important things in this world, and a lot of things that for a very long time have been chosen to be ignored by a lot of different people. Those, whether they be people who look like you or people who even look like me, myself included. I feel bad knowing that there are a lot of things that maybe I could have done or stood up for in the past. And don't get me wrong, I've always been about positivity, keeping a peaceful environment, a peaceful space, not even just when it comes to, Black Lives Matter. But actually, you know what? When it comes to Black Lives Matter, because, for those of you who don't truly understand, what Black Lives Matter means is all lives can't matter until Black Lives Matter. And it's a strong movement that covers such a strong variety of topics, and it starts with us. It's a movement that says that everybody should wake up, and if we have problems, they should be the same problems. We shouldn't have to go and get jobs and worry if we're treating differently because of the color of our skin. We shouldn't have to go into relationships and wonder if people are gonna look at us differently because of the color of our skin. We shouldn't worry if this person that we love to the bottom of their heart and to like their very core, if we decide to create life with that person, if that life that we bring into this world might end up like someone like little 12-year-old Tamir Rice, who was assaulted by a police officer for playing with the fake gun. It's crazy, especially when you have people who don't look like us gathering on a daily basis with real guns, and they don't get that same respect. Confirmed real guns. It's sad. It's very sad. And once again, even though I shouldn't, it's just who I am by nature, to apologize for having to be here, but
don't
man.
Don't.
No, I get it. I completely understand. But like I said, I don't have a hateful bone in my body, and if anybody who thinks otherwise is, but it is what it is. You can think what you want. But I really wanted to come here and be here because, once again, thank you so much to the NoReset Speedrun group for putting this together. If you guys don't know, a little bit of backstory about what's transpiring right now is, this marathon wasn't originally about Black Lives Matter. It was about COVID-19 relief. I believe we're going to be raising money for food banks. But, I appreciate, and I really, really appreciate and respect that the showrunners were able to recognize that COVID-19 is something that, and again, I'm not a scientist, I don't know, but something that, we all hope that will, pass after, maybe a year or however long. But, racism, white supremacy, systemic prejudice, whatever you want to call it, we all see it, and it's something that has been going on for a very long time, you know? Something before COVID-19 came into the picture, and something before I myself came into the picture, before I was born, before I was a thought, you know? What people say, before I was a twinkle in my father's eye or whatever. So it's really important, and I really appreciate, I really appreciate them for acknowledging that.
I mean,
And giving
it's our pleasure, and if anything, you know,
What am I gonna do with a knife?
it's a real tragedy, and it's extremely sad, and I do apologize for having to witness the George Floyd, his murder, really, there's no other word, for pretty much everyone to rally together and finally oppose all this
Me.
fucking
What about you?
bullshit, really, that's being always perpetrated against the black community and all people of color, really. And as you said, all lives can't matter until Black Lives Matter, because in the end, it's human lives all across the board. And if we don't treat the black community with the same respect that, let's say, people with white privilege or other, you know, privileged groups get, then what's the point? Because we're only as good as the worst that we treat people. You know what I mean? And if we can't treat everyone with the same amount of humanity and love all across the board, no matter what their skin color is, because at the end of the day, you know, if a cop shoots a black person or if a cop shoots me, the blood's going to be red regardless. And that's what this is all about. You know, us coming together. Right now it's Black Lives Matter because they do matter. And for those saying all lives matter, well, right now, that's not the priority. Right now, the problem that we deal right now, with the same analogy that we used yesterday with the house being on fire, because you hose down the house that's actually on fire does not mean that you don't care about the other houses. It's just that right now, you need to put that fire out, because that's the one that's happening.
Yeah.
So, honestly, the level best, man, I fucking love you to death, man. And you've been the voice and the face of the black community during this event. And none of that was planned, and it just happened the same way that none of the events that have been happening this year, no one planned for 2020 to turn out like this. No one expected for people to finally mobilize and do the right thing, and change is already starting. It's baby steps. It's not going to change overnight, but we got to take it one step at a time and keep moving forward, not take 2 steps forward and 3 steps backwards, because then what's the point? So I just want to thank you, honestly, for being here. And, you know, people need to look at these issues. They need to look in the mirror. And if they feel uncomfortable, well, at least that's a good sign, because they know something wrong. And they've got to act on it. Not just feel uncomfortable, but act on it. Change how they are. Change how they think. Call out the other people, even family members who are maybe bigoted without even realizing, because that's how they were raised, you know? How do you know if something's bad if your whole life you weren't told it was bad, right? Because as I said, no one's born evil, but you make your own decisions, so use your own head. Look at facts. When you see something that's wrong, call it out, no matter what, no matter who.
Yeah.
And only if we... Go ahead, sorry.
No, I was gonna say, and even after when this, it's never going to be over, but like whenever the hashtags, you know, go away, it will never go away. So we gotta still keep speaking up and standing with the communities and all that stuff during all this, all the time, not just during this one time, but keep going.
Exactly. And Black Lives Matter shouldn't... If you know, you type Black Lives Matter because it's trending on Twitter, it's a hashtag, and you know, and if it stays just that, then we have failed. Black Lives Matter needs to not just be a tagline or a hashtag or anything. Black Lives Matter needs to be who we are to our very core. Black Lives Matter, it's about being decent human beings to all human beings. And right now, the black community has been suffering for way too long, and we should have stood up for this a long time ago. Better late than never, as they say, but god damn it, we're late, people.
Yeah.
We got a lot of work to do.
Those are some really powerful words, and I appreciate it. You know, there's a lot of people, you know, not just with the black community, but with other communities who've gone through similar struggles, not the same but similar struggles, and they like to claim allyship, and say that they're for the cause, but you never hear words like these come out of their mouths, because at the end of, actions will always speak louder than words, no matter what. So that's why, again, from the bottom of my heart, I appreciate everybody who's come through to this event. Fortunately, and it's so absolutely amazing that despite the fact that we changed the cause, that we're on the front page of Twitch. Like, these are people like putting themselves out there, right? Even if they aren't directly, sometimes people say more than others on the topic, but you still got to respect that these are people. You have the super sensitive topic, and even if they're speedrunning the game or whatever, those of them who decide to put it on their webcam and put their face on this, that people notice that. There are gonna be people who if we have Twitch streamers or Twitch partners or full-timers coming on here and putting their face to these kind of things, they're gonna be people in their communities like, oh, Cat Link supports Black Lives Matter, let me unfollow her or let me unsubscribe. It's terrible what you're doing. I'm sure you guys have been seeing and again, I don't really want to talk too much about super specific cases or whatever, but I do want to point out things like Drew Brees and his statements, or people who are against Colin Kaepernick for kneeling and things like that. There are people who love these people to death, but as soon as they talk about some real shit, they don't want anything to do with them. It's crazy, and it shouldn't be that way. There's a lot of things that transpire that because of, for various reasons, because of how we stand as a society, economically, how we stand as a society, like in our homes. People, I touched a little bit on it before, we have so many people. If you read Twitter and stories and you actually talk to people and actually have the conversation, there are so many people who are afraid to speak up because they don't want to get kicked out of their homes. There's so many people who are afraid to speak up because they don't want to get shot. And it's crazy. Some of these things I did want to talk about during our post show, but this is what I felt, and I felt it very strongly. I'm glad again to have this platform to speak up on it and to have you guys sitting here and listening. And I hope you're paying attention. After this week, a lot of people's lives are going to be the same, because even if you knew if you were familiar with the injustices and things that surrounded the Black community, it's almost to the point where you can't ignore it anymore, because even if it's not directly affecting you, people are paying attention. If it's not affecting your life, even if you can if you're alive the next day, friends are starting to pay attention and call people out. You can't ignore it. And I'm glad it's gotten to the point. It sucks that this is what it has taken to get to this point, but I'm glad that it's at this point, and I hope it keeps going, because this is what we needed for a long time. When you see something bad happening, call it out. And I can personally attest to being afraid to say things at home, because but you got to remember, it's not about us. At the end of the day, it's not about us. Nothing we do is about the individual. People have their different morals and things that they believe they're supposed to do with their lives. I personally believe that we're put on this planet to leave the world in a better condition than it was when we came into it.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're ignoring these problems, then you're not doing that.
Yeah.
So what I really wanted to talk about, and something that fueled me up, I just we did a stream last night of the Resident Evil Dark Side Chronicles. I'm not gonna get too deep into it, but that was a 5.5 hour shift, and things got so serious that about 2.5 hours into our run, we had to pause the game and just get real for 3 hours straight. and it was a beautiful thing. We had a conversation with myself, a black man. I had the pleasure of being joined by my girlfriend of 5 years, who I met on Twitch when I was 17 years old. A Mexican woman, and with our host, an Eternal Enigma, who's a white male. And to get all these different perspectives, and and I want to clarify, as I continue to name more people. There's a note. I don't think I have my phone with me, but something I wanted to say something along the lines of certain topics. There's everybody's capable of doing good and doing evil, and I think even people who are deemed as evil or deemed as good are capable of doing vice versa. Nobody's perfect. We're only human. And I want you guys to always something we talked about. If you guys can link the video, we decided to call it #GetUncomfortable. It's a 3-hour discussion by myself, an Eternal Enigma, Atomic L, Shokushu, and DD Gaming, two of the showrunners here at NoReset. But I challenge you guys, and I implore you to watch that video and just listen, from start to finish, because there's some times where things get heated, but I guarantee you, every point that I touched on, by the end of that video was rounded up. And again, it's not, maybe you might hear something you don't like, but watch it to the end. If you're gonna decide this is something you don't support or something you can't get behind, at least make that decision by at the end of the video, and not halfway through or within the first 10 minutes. Watch the whole thing. But I just wanted to say that there's a lot of times when I see people, especially in the black community, people of high stature, people really appreciate, as soon as they do something that the majority consider bad, immediately every righteous thing they've said in their entire life gets wiped away. It's like, oh, that guy said, I don't know, dude, Resident Evil sucks. I don't care what you said about Black Lives Matter. Nothing you said matters to me, or it holds no weight because of this one thing you did. I think there's always opportunities to find information or find something, whether it's learning from the mistakes. You can always, myself personally, like my oldest brother, I'm sorry to put you on blast, big bro, but oh man, whew.
Got
All right,
this.
it's been a long time, and I said I wouldn't cry because of this this Black Lives Matter stuff, but this is beyond Black Lives Matter. This is family, and so this is why I wanted to come up here, because today, after that shift we did this morning, I started reaching out to people because I saw how powerful it was to have a platform and to use it for something good. And I wanted my friends and my family to see, like, yo, look, this is serious, and this is what I'm doing about it. Now what are you doing about it? So I reached out to my brother. A little bit of background, I come from a family of 8. I was homeschooled, and he's one of the only one of us who actually went through the entirety of the public school system. Not saying that has anything to do with what I'm about to tell you right now, but he's the only one in my entire immediate family who's been to jail, who's been to jail multiple times, who, despite what our parents taught us, who has abused women or physically or abused children. And I hate to talk about it and air this dirty laundry, but some things have to be said. It makes us uncomfortable, and I think it's worth mentioning because it's something that I fortunately from a young age was able to recognize things, bad things, and learn from the mistakes of others. History is important because so we don't repeat it. Mistakes are important so we don't do the same thing. Mistakes are only bad when you don't learn from them. Repeated mistakes are bad. And I'm sure in different areas, aspects of life, we see people constantly repeating the same mistakes. And just some of those mistakes are more, dire than others. So, as much as it hurts to say and to watch, I'm glad that I was at least able to take something away from it, and not just say, oh, that sucks. And so
I think that's it.
I called
Did he find a serum?
I didn't call him. I texted him. I told him, I was like, hey,
Wish you could have
I wanted to watch this video with my entire family. Again, I come from just my immediate family, a family of 8.
a D-series.
He has
and
4
an R.
kids,
This can't be right.
and with 2 different mothers, and so that's like 15 more people.
Have you
Excuse my
searched the whole house?
No,
4,
not yet.
2,
I still
six,
need to check the second floor
14.
here.
All
I
right.
don't know. Whatever. Excuse my math right now.
You're all
14
good.
people that can be influenced by this, and if more people took the time to express themselves and have these conversations with each other, we could nip this shit in the bud, dude. So I never did nothing like this, but once it happened, I reached out to him. I was like, hey, I think I did something. I feel like this is probably the best thing I've ever done with my 23 years of life, and I'd like to share this with y'all and have a conversation.
That's special.
And it's unfortunate that his reply was, I have to work a double today. But he said, I'll tell their mom to bring the kids over, send me the video so I can watch it later. And I appreciate that. I haven't had a chance to have a conversation with him. And again, it goes beyond me personally being uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable as hell to know that it's coming out, but I gotta do this, and it's uncomfortable for me. I got tears running down my face right now, and this is the first time in this entire week of watching all these riots and madness, people getting knees in the neck, tear gas, looting, death, like so much stuff just being consumed like in such a high quantity. I'm losing sleep over it, but it's something that fuels me, and I'm passionate about the topic, and I have enough energy to speak about it, so that's what I'm gonna do. So some people are going out there on the front line, getting their tear gas solution and their gas mask or whatever, holding up the signs, and thank y'all for being out there and supporting us and doing what you feel is right. And this is what I feel is right, and I'm doing what I feel will have the most effect. So it's super uncomfortable for me, not as just a black man, but just as a man in general, to know that you're taught from a very young age, if you guys have siblings, the older siblings are supposed to set an example for the younger ones. So for somebody who's 6-7 years younger than a person to be able to recognize that when my older big brother, this ain't right, what you doing, dude? What you doing? Why you setting buildings on fire? Why you beating up your girlfriend? There was a time when, and again, I'm sorry, I'm sorry to him for put it out there, but sometimes it got to be talked about. I'm sorry, there was a time when people were asking yesterday, where does this bearing the black pain or the pain of being black coming from? It comes from holding my when I was 13 or 14 years old, however old I was, you know, holding my baby nephew in my hands while I watched my brother beat up on his girlfriend, and have my younger brother, by the way, and again, I'm 13 or 14 at the time. You know, I have a brother that's 2 years younger than me and two years older than me, trying to fight him to stop beating her with a, you know, a Guitar Hero guitar or whatever you want to call it. You know, that hurts me, and I have those memories. But even from then, you know, I'm trying to protect the future. And that's what got me, dude. That was the straw that broke the camel's back. You know, I could stomach watching all these videos and not wanting to give these people who don't give a damn about me the satisfaction of crying, because, you know, my people been crying for a long ass time, and I don't you know, I'm not for that. I'm not giving these people my tears, but I will cry for these little kids growing up in this world, because I know that if we don't take care of this shit, they're gonna be, you know, if they care, they're gonna be us. They're gonna be the people running the NoReset Resident Evil marathons. They're gonna be the people out there getting tear gassed and things like that. And I don't want that for them. So right now, you know, I woke up. I was able to fall asleep, and I woke up and I went downstairs, and as my brother said he'd do, you know, my nieces and nephews were in the family room. They were watching Rick and Morty. But and they're varying ages, you know, 12, 10, 8, and like 4 years old. And I had them pause it. I'm like, you know, I don't know what y'all talk about at home and things like that, and I really wish y'all dad could be here to vibe with what I'm saying, because, you know, things hit different when it comes from your parent. You know, no matter how we feel about our parents, there's always going to be that attachment that we have to them, because, you know, those are the first people you see when you come into this world. You know, they're in your DNA. You are this person, no matter how you feel about them. You know, shout outs to my mom and dad for educating me, no matter what opinions or, you know, differing opinions me and my dad may have. You know, sometimes me and him have discussions, but at the end of the day, we still black in America, and we both recognize that there are, you know, bigger problems to deal with right now. So shout out to mom and dad for, you know, raising somebody who's strong enough to have this conversation. I really appreciate y'all. Even if I'm not doing what y'all think I'm supposed to be doing, this is what I think I'm supposed to be doing, and I hope, you know, I can encourage others to get behind that. So yeah, I told them, you know, I don't know what y'all know about, but or if y'all parents talk about these riots and things, or if they like shelter you and just pretend it doesn't happen. But if possible, I'm gonna do what I can to educate you on the topic, and I hope you guys, you know, can use that in your life one day. And it's sad to say, but something as simple as this conversation could save somebody's life. Because it's crazy. People, if we speak up, our lives are at risk. If we don't say anything, our lives are at risk. So what's the point? What's the point in being quiet? But yeah, so I wanted to get after this sometime. I don't know if it's gonna be right after I'm finished talking or whatever, because I do want to be here for the post show. Purely because there's, unfortunately, and it's not their fault. It's not their fault that a lot of these people supporting this movement aren't black, so they can't speak on the topics as, you know, they aren't as well versed on the topic as I can. I can speak from experience, and there's a extra level to the conversation and a certain power that comes with being able to speak about an experience. You know, empathizing can only get you so far. So, you know, I'm doing my job, and, you know, I'm trying to put the whole team on my back right now, and I hope that, you know, people out there, you know, black, especially the black community. I hope I'm doing y'all justice right now, and I hope y'all see and I hope I'm doing the right thing, because again, nobody's perfect. So if there's something that I missed, a point that I missed, you know, sorry y'all, but you know, there's many opportunities to have a conversation. So if you feel like there's something that I missed, you know, find another podcast to get on. You know, message me like, yo, I have some things to say. Maybe when I stream after, we can do more podcasts and things. You know, DM me, or maybe next time we have a NoReset marathon, you know, I can be like, hey, I really enjoyed that conversation we had. You want to share your voice with more people? You know, that's the thing that can happen. But none of this can happen if we don't start talking, dude. We gotta start talking. People say talking doesn't do anything, but that's the beginning. We gotta have a conversation. We have to. And let me bring it back to the kids. It's unfortunate. It's very unfortunate. I don't know what it feels like to be a child witnessing domestic violence firsthand. I don't know what that's like, but I empathize with them. You know, that it gotta mess up your head, dude. That gotta mess up. How can you tell anybody? And again, this is topics that I can't understand, and that's why we need more diversity, more variety on the topic, because there's people who can speak from that experience and, you know, shed some light on it. But I can't understand what it feels like to, you know, tell somebody you love them deeply, but at the same time, you know, you're abusing them in front of this life that you created. Like, I don't know that. And on top of being black, these kids have to deal with that too. It's crazy. They have so much going on and they don't even know it because they're kids. And it's so sad, dude. It's so sad.
Ooh, baby. You're gonna have to come through me.
They don't have a choice. They didn't ask to be born.
Now, come on, Ethan. What do you say?
It is so very sad. But, you know, I see it. I observe, and when I'm in my relationship with my girlfriend, I love her to death. There's a lot that we covered. If you guys can post that get uncomfortable video, there's a lot that we cover in our relationship in regards to, you know, being in a long distance relationship, being in an interracial relationship. You know, there's a lot of things. There's a lot of things that we covered. And I realize that, you know, there's more of an experience that's becoming from a heterosexual interracial relationship. You know, that's my experience. I can't speak from, you know, being a part of a homosexual relationship or anything like that, but I'm gonna do my part and speak about my experience. And I hope that there are people, you know, out there, and I know there's people out there, you know. Shout out to I Am Brandon, if you guys are familiar with him. You know, putting his experience out there always. Dude, I support you and I love you, dog. I would love to have a conversation with that man, you know, because if you guys have been paying attention, not only is he black, but, you know, a homosexual male, and in America, just like those kids who have that extra weight on their shoulders, that's a world that I can only empathize with, but I'll never truly understand. But until we start having these conversations, you know, we can't truly say that we're allies. So definitely shout out to him. That's somebody that I followed in the LGBT community for a very long time. And I see you, dude. I see you. Keep on preaching. Where was I? Oh yeah, so back to the kids. I start to try and tell them, like, you know, You know, I'm your uncle when y'all come through, and you know we play Mortal Kombat or you know Tekken or whatever. It's all fun and games, but when y'all go home and I go back upstairs to my little studio or whatever, you know, this is what I do. Excuse me, and I hope y'all can see the same way that when I was your age and was able to acknowledge who was doing right from wrong. I hope you know I can inspire y'all with that. I'm not your father, but you know, I feel like you can learn from anybody, good or bad. You can learn from anybody, and it's unfortunate that in my life, you know, with somebody so close to me, I had to learn from the bad in order to avoid it to do some good, you know. So yeah, it touches me very deeply when I see that, and that's the only thing that's gotten tears out of me so far is knowing that there are people who don't have a choice, who are constantly being born what I was 10 years ago. I'm watching, you know, I'm watching them grow up, and I hope that you know when they're my age or whatever, they not only saying the things I'm saying, but they're more educated than I am. You know, the next generation should always be better than the one before. And you know, I feel like I want to give you guys a little bit of time to speak, just so I don't end up going on tangents and losing my train of thought. But I just wanted to say that while it was on the you know the front of my head. And thank you guys for listening.
Yeah,
I'm
no
gonna get
worries,
some
man.
water and
No, thank you.
Thank you for
Yeah.
coming here. And
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing.
and not just that, it takes courage. It takes grit. It takes guts
For real,
to
man.
say those things, you know, to so many people watching and listening, and those who will come after watching the VODs and everything.
You got
I
me
mean-
tearing up over here. I appreciate it, though.
LevelBest, I've said it before, I'll keep saying I love you, man, and thank you for being here with us. It's absolutely an honor to have you. And if our platform can be used for the greater good, man, don't ever apologize for using it. Like I said, you'll always have a place in the NoReset family. If there's one takeaway I have from the events that we did in the States, is that I'm so happy that it led to us meeting you and, you know, having you as a part of this community. And like you said, man, it's uncomfortable. And as I just mentioned yesterday or before yesterday, you know, I'm a white kid, you know, who grew up in white suburbia, even though I'm the son of an immigrant myself. And my father's Greek, and I've been told to go back to my fucking country many times, and I'm white. So I can't imagine. I can't put myself in your shoes because, hell, that's not even the point. I can't put myself in your skin. And despite all that, I remember when I was a kid, the grown-ups saying, you know, there was one black family in the city, and they're like, oh, you know, that one black family, but, you know, they're good. They're okay, you know? I'm like, thinking back, I grew up on this shit, you know? And when I was 18, 19, I got out of my little, you know, white town, South Shore, Montreal, and actually went to work, get actual work on the island, and I was surrounded by Haitian people, African people, you know, Arab people, like people from pretty much like origins all over the world. It was uncomfortable for me because I was not exposed to it, and basically, to what my education said, that being different wasn't overtly saying that it was wrong or anything, but just, you know, being different is different. And it was ingrained into me. And after a couple of months of working on the island and, you know, forging those relationships with those people, I forgot about all that programming that I had. And my point is that it's possible to change, but you have to look at yourself, take a hard look in the mirror, and start looking at your own bias and your own programming and who you are as a human being, and question yourself fundamentally, and question your upbringing, and just, you know, like, you know, if you can't do that, then you're always going to be part of the problem, whether you like it or not, whether it's conscious or not, you know. And you know, for the past for 2.5 years now, I've been dating. Me and Squee are dating, and you know, her parents are from the Caribbean, so she's from a Caribbean Indian descent, and she's brown skinned. And at first, you know, she was mentioning all that racial bias that was perpetrated her way, like the dirty looks and shit. And I mean, she's got colored hair, she's brown skinned, and she has tattoos, you know? So people always have an excuse, right? To give those dirty looks and give stink eye. And I mean,
Yeah.
you know, at first I'm like, oh, you know, you're making a big thing out of it. Like even then, even though I got rid of that whole, like, I was to me, no matter where you're coming from, what your skin color was, you're just a person, you know? It's no different. To me, you're like, it didn't have any bearing on how I would judge you, because to me it didn't make a difference. I was having a hard time picturing other people not seeing things the way that I could see them. And ever since I've been going out with her, it kind of opened my eyes, and it opened them like all the way.
There should be enough, right?
Way fucking wide.
Make him fast enough. My father.
I mean, we can't get out on our balcony without our fucking neighbors across the street like giving dirty looks to her. You know, like it's all around us.
Yeah.
If you don't want to see it, if you put your head in the sand, then at some point you're gonna get a kick in the ass, because that's what's sticking out.
There's a boat outside.
And
We'll take it through the swamp.
you really got, to everyone out there, like, question yourself, question your surroundings, question even the people that you love, because if you truly love them, then not calling them out, not trying to change things, is doing them a disservice. And I mean, like I said, at the end of the day, we're all human beings. We all share this little flaming ball with a little dusty crust all around that's spinning around an even bigger ball of fire, hundreds of millions of miles an hour, and we share this little freaking ball of fire and dust. Can we just get along? Is it that hard? You know? It seems so simple, it seems so obvious, yet, you know, like I was saying, you don't need to be calling a black person the N-word and beating them up to be a bigot or a racist. You know, and the worst part, the worst racism is insidious. It's subtle. It's in ways that you won't see, even if it strikes you in the face, until you actually open your eyes and pay attention.
Yeah, exactly.
And you know, it takes people with your courage, level best, and the will to speak up. I'm sure you've opened many eyes today on stream with your words, and yesterday as well. I don't doubt it a second, because honestly, if this didn't touch you, if you didn't feel something inside, you should check for a pulse, because you're probably dead. So,
Just
I love you,
real
man.
quick.
I don't know what else to say other than I love you, man. And thank you for being here.
Thank you. I love you too, and I love everybody who supports us in this movement in chat. I love all the runners and anybody in the world who supports what we're trying to do right now. I love y'all. You know, much love and peace, because that's what we fighting for, man. And it's as unfortunate as it is
Ethan,
to
this
be
way.
like, you know, the single black representation right now for the Resident Evil community throughout this marathon. I'm just glad it was you know, somebody like me. I'm glad. I wish there was more people right now, and again, it's unfortunate that we're fighting for and that we're discussing. You know, it wasn't planned. There's a lot of people. Yo, shout out to BigJon, a big Resident Evil fan.
Yeah.
Very
I love BigJon. He's an amazing dude. I met him at AGD, my first AGDQ in 2015, and John, like, his heart is as big and as buff as he is.
Yeah,
I'll say that.
he's a really lovely man.
Yeah, shout out to JRocTheGod. If y'all don't know who
Yo,
JRocTheGod
J-Rock.
is by now, yo, you ain't
Jay's
living.
great people.
Yo, you know, JRocTheGod, y'all probably don't know about our relationship, but you know, I known the man for, I want to say 7 years, and that was probably one of the first times that I realized, you know, I truly went against what my parents taught me, that, you know, you don't find real friends online and things like that. That man's been my brother for 7 years. There's been a couple people in my life who were the older brother that I never had a chance to have, and you know, I love those dudes to death.
There won't be anyone left.
You know, anytime they tell me they need something, yo, I got you. Chris 1, Agent C1, if you guys know him, shout out to him. Sensei Sounds, thank y'all for being there and for being and keep in mind, y'all, I'm 22 years old. I was born in 1997, so I've only seen and experienced so much, and I'm fortunate to have people in my life who have gone through a little bit more, and so like, yo, hey, young blood, hey, young blood, look at what you're doing, you know, don't do this, don't do that, and I'm all ears, I'm listening, you know.
Ethan?
And you better believe every time somebody somebody says, you know, don't do this, don't do that, I research it, no matter how much I trust them. I make sure I question everything, because sometimes the
Yeah.
people we trust are
Everyone's been through a lot.
are to do harm as well.
We need to talk.
So we got to remember that.
There's something to tell you about this, too.
Always defend yourself, and that not just physically but mentally.
I just want to know the truth.
Self-defense is very important.
I honestly don't remember.
So but I'm so blessed and fortunate to have people who have been experiencing this struggle longer than I have, and can just be like, hey, you know, I remember when I was your age, and I wish I wouldn't have done this, and I wish I wouldn't have done that, and that gives me the opportunity. You know, maybe they didn't have the choice at the time, but
You're okay.
the fact that they recognized
hell
what
was
went
that?
wrong, and they spread that message with, you know, the future generations, you know, that's what, and again, I don't want to get religious or anything like that, but that's what I consider doing God's work. You know, that's what I consider, you know, making the world a better place. Because no matter what happens to them, they've enlightened me in one way or another. So if they happen to go out for a protest or for whatever, for putting their face, if they happen to be a target for, you know, speaking up against this stuff, you know, they did their job, and much more. But you know, there's always going to be a job to do until all this shit gets sorted.
Ethan?
So you just remember that. So yeah, shout out once again, JRocTheGod, Sensei Sounds, Chris One,
Ethan?
Bobby,
don't-
Blacktastic,
yo,
an amazing guy. I love that guy to death.
oh yo, and if you guys haven't seen it already, there's a podcast going around, Shoku, if you're present, the podcast between Mira, Big Cheese, Libra LeBron, the podcast amongst five, you know, not just black content creators on Twitch, but black black Twitch partners, you know, sitting down and talking, engaging in conversation on a podcast hosted by, you know, a white man who offered his platform to give them a chance to speak and to be heard, and to put them all in, you know, comprise this thing. That's another conversation you should listen to. You know, it's there's people talking. Again, shout out to and no disrespect to the other people on that podcast. But I'm just remembering the names that resonated with me the most during that. Sorry. Shout out to Majin Taj, I Am Brandon TV, Ekugan. It's, you know, I love y'all, and there's something that I keep saying, that because it really affected me during that podcast, after the podcast, you know, some of the streamers, because at the end, you know, these are content creators and influencers, and so it's powerful. It's so powerful to see these people, the one thing that they have in common, you know, coming from different states, coming from different, you know, sexual orientations. I'm not sure what the if that's the proper term for it. You know, different genders. You know, coming together just because of the one thing. Y'all don't hear me, but I'm slapping my skin, because that the thing that they have in common is that they're all black. You know, they're coming together to speak on that experience. And, you know, but at the end of the day, it's such a great video because they're entertainers, and they're all different kind of entertainers. You know, just because they're all black doesn't mean they're all the same person. And so to have that level of synergy amongst them, the you know, they all, you know, make a living or, you know, from this platform in their own different way, inspiring people their own different ways. And to put it together and having that mix of match, I think it was really nice to see that. And but something that resonated with me from ex Mira after the podcast was she had let me find I'll find a clip and I'll play it through my microphone. Hold up. Because it is really powerful, especially against living things.
Hey, no worries, man.
All right, here we go. You guys should be able to hear it in a couple seconds.
Because I double down so much on racism and diversity and how I feel like it's not fair.
Oh, oops! I went to. But could you guys hear that when it was going?
Heard the first part, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. I switched Discord channels and it stopped the video.
So much on racism and diversity and how I feel like it's not fair and the opportunities and things that are taken away from us or we're overlooked for. I had a peer say some shit, jokingly tried to insinuate that, talking about something like I hate white people, and I was like, I don't hate white people. I don't hate anybody. I hate ignorance, and I don't hate myself. So it's not that I hate anybody. I just love myself. When you love yourself, it's shit you're not gonna let fly. Like when I love myself, you can't just be around me and I'ma just be like, oh yeah, bro, yeah, haha. No, it's not that I hate anybody. I just like myself. I love myself, and it's just some shit you just can't let rock.
And dude, oh man,
Alan,
I don't know about y'all, but that got tears out of me.
Oh,
I feel you, man.
yeah.
It's strong.
Oh, man. I wish I could give you a hug right now.
Yeah.
Can hugs through the
I
internet
know
be-
Kat's being quiet, but I know it's because she's holding back a whole dam of tears,
It's my fault she got
knowing her. So
but that doesn't.
It's like a mix of trying to hold down tears and trying to focus on what's happening in front of me.
Yo, man.
No, you're-
As we proved earlier today, you know, it's sometimes no, it's always okay to pause the game.
yeah,
Because no
I
matter
was
what
gonna say,
happens,
we can pause the timer, we can pause the game. The marathon will end when the marathon ends. It's really not a problem. Hell, we'll restart the run if you want, Kat. I'm all down for that.
I mean, if you want to restart the run.
It's up to her. I mean, I'm still available.
I mean, if Kat's down for it, we'll start the run over when you're done. The level best. Take your time. The
Yeah.
stream is yours, man. Right now,
Yeah.
it's all yours.
no, it's ours. It's ours.
Hell yeah, man.
Vomiting.
But
You
the
know-
spotlight is on you right now because your voice needs to shine far and
I mean,
wide.
hey man, I
It's
spoke
important.
for like 3 hours straight earlier today. And as
That's
I
not-
came through, I woke up and I talked some more, you know, and that's what we should all be doing because all this stuff that's going on right now, all these people that's protesting, you know, getting the physical backlash of it. You don't forget the systemic things that are going on right now that as we speak and like, you know, fight against it, it's happening. It's still happening because it's a problem that we haven't found a solution for yet or eliminated. Whatever, I can't think of the right words.
Man,
I'm terrible
listen,
right
you're
now.
saying you took 3 hours yesterday and you're taking whatever time you're taking right now. You know, slavery in the United States, I just looked it up. It's been abolished in 1865. Now, when you look at the grand scheme of things, this planet's been around for billions of years. 1865 is basically 155 years ago, I believe, 65 years ago. That is not a long time, you know? And how long before that has the black people been done wrong by? So you taking a couple of hours out of our privileged, precious little time, you know, it's nothing. It's nothing at all. Just take it.
I just
Just
no.
do-
I mean, I meant it. Oh no, it's okay. I didn't mean to like. No
I'm just-
offense, but I don't
I'm
care if
just
anybody
saying.
don't want to listen to this. I'm just saying.
If they don't want to
I
listen,
thought-
there's plenty of other streams out there, and they're
I'm-
they're very welcome on those streams. And right now, this is what we're doing. And no matter what, honestly, if I were to tell you, oh man, you know the run and whatever, then I'm an asshole and I'm a hypocrite
Most definitely.
because I changed the cause to the Bail Project because I believe in it, because I stand by it, because I want you know, we've been doing these charity streams because the end goal is always to do good and use our platform for the greater good. So you take the time that you want, my friend. You take the time that you need. If anyone's uncomfortable, good. Let them be uncomfortable. If they want to leave now, let them leave. But you will have planted a seed in their brain right now, and it'll eat at them, and maybe it'll sprout the change that's needed for them to question themselves and push for positive change in this world, because it needs change. This world is broken on so many fucking levels, man. I'm never gonna stop someone from speaking up to actually bring to light something that has been an issue for way too long. And like I said, you know, George Floyd, may he rest in peace, but he was the spark that started a fire that will burn to ashes racism and systemic oppression. And it's a fucking tragedy that that's what it took to bring all those people together. But it did, like you said, it did. So let's not let it be in vain.
I've said this before, but I'll say it again. I don't mind saying it again, but behind every person who streams on Twitch, every content creator, there's a person behind that. And, we usually use places like streaming as a distraction and stuff, but, there are people in this world who can't, ignore what's going on, in their communities, what's going on to them and stuff like that. So, I'm just like, you just need to listen. We need to always be listening. We need to support, the Black community right now. My voice is shaking a little bit, sorry.
No,
But,
it's
Okay.
It's okay.
but it's like, this is really important right now. And, like they were saying earlier, just, it may plant a seed in your brain to like read up and be informed on it. Just be sure, like if anything, just always listen. And LevelBest, I support you. I definitely empathize with you. So if anything, I'm sure I could speak for everyone here. We will always be listening, and we will always be supporting.
And I truly appreciate that. Some people in this marathon, it being a Resident Evil speedrunning marathon, and I being a long-time member of the Resident Evil community. I came onto the Twitch scene in July of 2012 after I watched like Evo or something like that. I was like, oh, what else they got? And I typed in, the first game I typed in was Resident Evil 2, and that's how it began my Twitch journey. I've seen so much in the Resident Evil speedrunning community. I've seen so much growth, whether it be in the games, in the people of the community. Drama out the ass, but it's a lovely community at the end of the day. And I'm glad. I've seen some of these runners I've never met before, coming through, oh hey, how long have you been playing Resident Evil series? About a year and a half. Yo, beautiful, dude. This thing that people were struggling with, for so long, and like to see people, the cooperative competition that goes on, speedrunning is so powerful, dude, because it goes to show how easily people can work together if they decide to overcome something, and we just need to take that same effort that people do to, shave a tenth of a second off a record, or to break down the game, to break down this fucking system of the systemic racism and white supremacy and like racial inequalities and all the inequalities in this world. To take that same passion and put it towards something that actually matters. Because if the electricity went out or the internet went out, we still have to deal with these problems, and you ain't gonna have no games to escape from them. So remember that.
You know what? One thing I want to mention, and I'm actually very proud of, is when I decided to change the charity that we were going to support to the Bail Project, one thing that did cross my mind is, are we going to lose any runners? Not that I cared, because I'm like, they'll sort themselves out. It's a good thing. If you're against this movement, I don't even want you on my show. and no one did. No one dipped. And honestly, if they were against it, it would have been stronger than them. They would have just dipped out. And that's a testament to how beautiful this community is as well. You know what I mean? And we have great people. Of course, there's bad apples, like in any community, like in any group of people, any hobby, whatever you want to call it. But everyone still rallied together for this amazing cause. 9,000 people were listening to you last night, and we banned 66 of them. Like, I mean, that's a pretty good ratio if you ask me. You know, we have a lot of good people out there, and as long as good people won't let bad people just get away with it, then the world will get better. You know, because as cheesy as that quote is, you know, it's, I don't have the exact quote, but it's basically, you know, the only thing for evil to prevail is for good men to do nothing, whatever the wording is, but you get what I mean. And that is true. You know, if you don't call out racism when you see it, you can't say that you're not racist. You know, having a black friend is not a free pass on not being a racist. You know what I mean? Because it's just, oh yeah, I know this one black dude, I'm not racist. No, that's not how it works. You know? Oh, even I have my girlfriend, my boyfriend's black, I'm not racist. No, you can still be racist and, you know, your significant other be a person of color.
Can I share one thing?
Go ahead.
So last night, Trihex, everyone know, I'm sure a lot of people know Trihex.
Of course.
You know, Yoshi's Island speedrunner, Mario Maker speedruns, and face of Tryhard.
Speedrunning legend, really, let's say it.
Yeah. He started up a stream. I guess, would you call it a podcast? Is it normally a podcast when they're like both on stream interviewing each other?
I guess so.
In a
I'm not even
sense,
sure
yeah.
about what makes a podcast a podcast.
He started the conversation. Let's just say it that way.
Yeah, exactly.
He started a conversation with 3 other Black content creators. He's actually going to make this a series. It's called The Black Experience. He had 3 content creators on last night, but it was a really good watch, really good listen. You know, if anything, I would hope no one's questioning anything, but if you happen to be, you should, you know, the podcast that LevelBest mentioned earlier, this thing that Trihex is doing, you know, people in your communities here who are talking about it, you know, definitely give these a listen. When I was listening to that last night, there is this one content creator he had on, PK Sparks. I think he's like a Nintendo Mario Let's Player or something. He was saying how he started up YouTube a while back, and when he first had YouTube, he didn't have a camera just because I guess it was easier at the time. But then his friend was like, "Oh, you should get a camera because you know, it's like a normal thing." But then he said the day he uploaded a video and had a camera, he lost like 2,000 subscribers or something, or like 200 subscribers. It was either 200 or 2,000. Either way, it was a significant amount, and I was like, that should never happen.
No, exactly. And I mean, we had people in chat being like, "Oh, you know what? Unfollowing." I'm like, not unfollowing. Your ass is getting banned. I don't give a shit. Like, if you're uncomfortable with what we're saying, we don't need you. This is not about viewers, subscribers, money. We don't even have a sub button, so I could care less. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like you unfollowing us is going to affect us in any way.
And that's an injustice on its own that you guys don't have a sub button. Let's just put that out there.
Honestly, there are way worse things in life, and I think we're talking about them right now. And you know, we've never, like I said, we never were in it for the money. Otherwise, we would have quit a long ass time ago. And you know, to be able to say that, you know, we started this 5 years ago from nothing, just being a little bunch of kids in Montreal wanting to have, you know, find like-minded people having the same hobby, and to say that today we're having this conversation on the front page of Twitch with, you know, anywhere between 1,000 to 9,000 people watching at any time. I'm proud of that. I really am, and not just of the team and everything, but each and every single one of you who are here right now listening. Big shout outs to Kat, who's going to restart her run an hour in because she knows that this is important. You know, Black Lives Matter. Put your money where your fucking mouth is.
Hell yeah, man.
Don't just use the hashtag.
Mm-hmm.
You got to embody it. You got to live it. You got to be the movement. You can't just mention it in passing and think that your job's done. It's all good. You know, You know, you're not on Reddit trying to get karma for free or trying to get likes or followers or whatever. This is so much more important than all that bullshit. It's something that's serious. It's something that's real, and it's real painful, and it needs to change. You know, like we go through everything fast in what we do. This is not one of those things. We'll take our damn time. We'll finish whenever we finish. Because there are more important things in lives than video games, and right now this is one of them. We're using video games as a medium to spread the word and do good. And if we can't just, you know, hit the pause button for a couple of minutes, couple of hours to actually put forward what we're working for, then why are we even doing it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's even a lot of game developers that are putting their games, like their game releases, on hold just because, you know, this movement right now is just so important that, you know, there's just certain things that can wait, but this cannot.
And I like to, while you mentioned game developers and game companies and things like that, as a speaking from a black perspective, you know, we pay attention to all the game companies out there, and just anybody who haven't been for or about us until the last week. We see you. Don't think we ain't paying attention. You know, there's a lot of people, even if from if you do the research from an economical standpoint, you know, the black community might not own much, but believe we got money, and we pay attention. So
Yeah.
And just to talk a little bit about, you know, where we stand as a society, you know, economically. People always talk about you know, racial inequality and things like that in the workplace and things like that. But, you know, how many, to all my black family, you know, even if we ain't related, to my black family, you know, how many aunts and uncles, no, to everybody, you know, how many people in your family, you know, I know everybody has that one or two people who owns like acres of land and property and things like that. Or you might know a friend who has, you know, oh, I know my one of my uncles in Tennessee, you know, has like, you know, 20 acres of land or something like that. We have all this space and all these things on in at least America that I'm aware of, empty space that, you know, because of whatever system we put in place a long time ago, where we have to put a price on, and again, everybody, you should always value your work and your time, but it's a system that we created. Like when we came into this world, you know, it wasn't money, the dollar didn't exist and things like that. You know, all that should matter at the end of all this, everything that should matter is, you know, everybody should have something to eat, everybody should have clothes to wear, and nobody should have to worry about being outside, you know, when it's raining. That's like just the you know, food, water, shelter, clothing. Like everybody should have that, no matter what. And if we can't at some point get to that point in this world, then we're not doing our jobs. We're not doing our jobs. It should be enough for people to have that. But this, I'm questioning our mentalities right now, because, you know, we're born into this world not by choice. But, you know, should we really have to say, I can't listen to this podcast right now. I can't participate in this protest right now, in this movement right now, because I got to work a double. You know, that shouldn't be.
Nope.
No.
People shouldn't have to make the choice, have to choose between righteousness and surviving. They shouldn't have to. You know, to touch on COVID-19 and things like that. You know, so many people going out there. You know, everybody should have been able to stay at home. Everybody should have been able to stay at home.
Mm-hmm.
We have far more than enough resources and technology technological advancements in our society that everybody couldn't stay at home, or that could have been, well, okay, not absolutely everybody, but you know, it could have been handled a lot better is all what I'm trying to say.
Well, I mean, I'm going to say this. Nearly pretty much everyone here in Canada was able to get support from the government. I wasn't perfect, but it proved that it is doable. And like I mentioned this yesterday, I believe, but I'm like, if we can send people to the moon, to the ISS, to Mars,
Facts.
you know, before even thinking about colonizing another planet and fucking that one up in turn, can we just fix our shit down here? Like,
Yo,
can we
big
just
facts.
make sure that everyone's
Big
on
facts.
equal footing on this planet before you move to another one?
Big facts. We got people who care more about a planet with no life on it. Confirmed. They care more about that than somebody who look like me. Somewhere they ain't even been to, dude. You gotta get a super duper badass telescope to see it. You can't even breathe out there, and they care more about it. Like, handle this first.
It's crazy, man.
Thank you for addressing that. I never even thought about it that way.
Don't worry about it, man. I mean, it hurts, it's painful, but it's necessary, and I'm grateful, man. I'm grateful that you're here with us right now. I can express it. Words can't express it.
Yeah, thank you so much for, you know, taking your time to just really let your heart out.
Yo, and shout outs to those of you. I'm getting a few, you know, DMs right now. People have like hit me up on Twitter and private messages, and you know, to say that they appreciate me, and I appreciate you too, going that extra step. You know, listening's one thing, but taking action is another. You know, it's our job as human beings to do what's right. And there's a lot of people, even though they have the knowledge, who aren't doing that extra step. But I want to remind you guys that, you know, the more time you spend worrying about what everybody else is doing, that's taking the time and energy away from what you're doing. So so remember that. Do what you got to do first. You know, why can't I think of what the rhyme is? Check yourself before you wreck yourself, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So and while I'm here, it's something that I had a conversation with Shokushu. Yo, that's I'm so glad that I've been able to inspire and uplift so many people. But I wanna take a little bit of time to go a little bit to my background for those of you who are listening right now, who you know, might not have to skim through. I do encourage you guys, and I'm compiling a list of all these videos that people are saying to go watch, all these podcasts and things. A list of things that you should just watch and like take that time. If we can binge watch, you know, the Avatar: The Last Airbender, because I know everybody on that since it came on Netflix. If we could binge watch that, we can binge watch, you know, some real shit.
Let me put it this way. Everyone, you know, it kind of sucks that, you know, right now everyone knows who fucking Carol Baskins is, and only a couple thousand people know who TheLevelBest is. I'm just gonna put that out there. So trust me when I say, if people could binge Tiger King, there are so many more important issues in the world right now that you could educate yourself on.
I don't know who Carol Baskins. I had to look it up as you were saying. I was like, I don't know who that is. But anyway,
It's all good. But I mean, people who get the reference know exactly what I mean, and it's a documentary about something that will never be of any use to anyone who's watched it. It's dumb. I mean, I don't even want to call it entertainment at this point, but it's a dumb documentary, and it took the internet by storm. Yet there are some people aren't even aware. They're like, oh yeah, I heard there's riots in the States, what's up with that? Like, are you living under a rock, or did one hit you on your head? Like, But yeah, man, I mean, like I said, it's never gonna get solved overnight. You know, it's gonna take a while. The problem is, we should have started what we've been doing with the movement that's picked up, you know, speed over the past 2 weeks. It should have started decades ago.
Hmm.
But now that it started, let's not let it stop. You know,
Don't ever stop.
the train's left the station. I mean, it's got to keep going. Never stop. I mean,
Yeah, and
more
like
people need to get aboard that train and keep it rolling, because
Mhm.
just spread kindness and love. Don't judge someone on the color of their skin, where they come from, their income, whatever it is. You know, judge them on their character, their actions, who they are, what they say. You know,
Yeah, actions always
Yeah.
speak louder than words. And
you're not. I'm you know, I'm gonna quote my favorite movies all the time, but you're not your bank account. You're not your fucking khakis. You know, it's that thing has no bearing on anything. That doesn't affect your quality as a human being. It doesn't affect who you are. But those actions that you will take from this day onwards, and those words that you share, and those ideologies and values that you spread, now that's what makes who you are and how history will judge you. Because there's only two choices here. You can be on the right side of history, or you can be left behind. And that's going forward, that's all we can do. That's all we can do as decent human beings. And question yourselves. Never stop. Never stop questioning yourself.
It's the truth.
Yeah.
And
Thank you.
always empathize. Empathy is such a powerful emotion. Please, like, that's like my big thing as well. Just put yourself in someone else's shoes. It doesn't matter what the color of their skin is. Just
And like
very important.
and I've told you, man, level best, I can't even say that I understand you. I can say that I'm feeling for you right now, but I'll never be able to get the black experience, because I'm not. But I can decide to understand that something's wrong, though. I don't need to be black to understand that the way that black people are treated is wrong. And just start accepting that fact. And, you know, those spreading like, oh, not all of us, not all white people. Okay, fine. But if you're not one of those that you're like, not all of us, what are you doing against those that are?
Facts.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Hashtags are cute and all. Hashtags won't bring change. People and actions will bring change.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I see we were just joined by BigJon. We talked
yeah.
a little bit about him before. You know, much love to him. I had the opportunity when I was talking earlier this morning for 3 hours straight to see him come through a chat, to see that I was listening. You know, talk to him a little bit more. You know, via Twitter after the event, and you know, much respect and love to that guy. You know, he's always been about you know, peace and love. Always been about this charity stuff. You know, try to make sure he leaves the world a better place. If you want to talk for a little bit, yo, go for it, dude.
Before we move forward, I just got to say, and he knows why, but BigJon, how's it going, my friend?
See, I told Level that he was showing that way back in the day. I did one of my marathon runs, but anyway, y'all, what's up? Hope everybody's doing well.
We are, man. We are.
It's an honor to be here. First of all, you all have been doing good things. I've been watching this. It's just been as everybody can probably relate, it's been a mess of a week. It's just 2020 has been quite a challenge.
2020 ain't funny.
Yeah.
And so like right now, like I said here, that I'm here in the DC Metro for those who may not know, and it's been a Well, shoot, it's just been messy. Period. Just based on just who's on charge. But anyway, I'm gonna go and hop on that one. But it's just this whole thing is. I mean, everybody knows this is something that has been a problem before we even thought about being conceived. It's just, it's the unfortunate thing that something happens, it comes to light, and then eventually it kind of fizzles away until the next thing happens again. And then, we're on this like cycle here. And maybe this is the one where it's not going to die anytime soon, and it infuriates me, the fact that we still have this as a problem, as a big problem. Like, sometimes I'm so embarrassed to be in this country as someone who's lived outside the U.S. and seeing people just being so friendly regardless of what you look like, what you sound like, your physical characteristics, your beliefs. And right here in, quote, the most advanced country in the world, so they say, we gotta deal with brutality and racism and phobics and all this stuff that just bothers me so much. I mean, I'm an older guy compared to probably most of y'all, and it's just, I can't say I've been around since the 50s or nothing, but from the time I've been on this earth, it's just like, I can't grasp the mindsets of people as to, we're gonna speak on the black side. Why don't you like me? Like, yo, flip your hand the other side. We're close to color now. I'm not talking to you, Alexa. I know you have an opinion. It's my time to talk.
Oh my
You're
god.
just an AI. You don't know no better. Alexa's just trained to what we tell them. And some of these kids growing up are just what their parents are just preaching to them. Yeah, you don't like black people because why? Why, mommy? Cause what? And it's just. It's just so frustrating. I was I had to go downtown DC. I was at the protest, and I had to go pick up one of my frat brothers because he got injured in one of the fires they set up. So I drove in there trying to get him up there, and they've got tear gas out there, and people going crazy and whatnot. And my thing is. And it's bad as a problem that we have that, and I am all for people protesting their rights and stuff. But the thing I have a problem with is, or I do have a problem with is the vandalism, the looting aspect of it. It's like, if you go into DC, for instance, Southeast DC, one of the most crime-ridden parts of the country, for that matter. And it's nothing worse than seeing, we already struggling as it is to kind of make ends meet and trying to get that neutralness across all the race and stuff. And then you just terrorize and vandalize your own neighborhoods. Like, what is that even going to do? I want to do that, but it's like man, like one of my frat brothers in Raleigh, in North Carolina, he sent me a video and said, man, John, he's like, they're rioting and stuff, but man, they burned down the CVS, and now the people who live above it, because it's one of those places where like the stores on the first floor and their residential apartments above. So now, because of somebody just burning down a CVS, a black-owned CVS, now everyone above has to vandalize and get out because now they don't have their homes. Their homes all burnt up. So now it's just like, if you're going to do this, if you're going to take a stand, you got to be mindful of who you hurting in the process if you're going to do that kind of stuff. There's a big difference between someone, like today, one of my other friends, they're marching down, up and down Pennsylvania Avenue, apparently they pulled back some of the police force and all this stuff now in DC, and they're doing this stuff, making a stand. They're loud, they're vocal, but they're not doing all that silly stuff, which I personally have a problem with. I don't think it takes destruction of a neighborhood to make a point, because bam, now you got to find money and resources to rebuild. Like talking with COVID, most of us are already struggling. That's a worldwide thing. Most of us still struggling. Places ain't open. We got to work. People got families, got kids, got to take care of. Mortgage got to get paid. Bills got to get paid. And some of these places, these creditors ain't trying to work with you. Taxes and interest rates are still being accrued on some people. And then you have this kind of stuff that happens on top of it. I feel so bad for some of these business owners that already been struggling since like January, February. And then someone, be it them black or some of the other folk or some of those knuckleheads that are just out there, they're not even there trying to protest the cause. They just out there having a good time, just doing stupid stuff. Hey, let's go burn down the building because everyone else is doing it. Oh, let's go steal some whatever. You know, they're not helping any part of the cause.
Well, those people, most of the time, they don't even want to help the cause. And that's the problem.
They're just people out there just kind of just, as my grandma said, is out there being nosy. Ooh, hey, let's go do this. Yo, man, let's go get this. They're not even helping the cause. They probably care less about the cause. Get the stuff, get it, and go back in the house and, you know, and...
They just go play GTA IRL. They don't give a shit about the protests or anything. So they just want to cause chaos and destruction. It's a fucking disgrace.
Yeah, and it's just so bad. And it's like, I mean, I applaud those who are trying to help, you know, people like myself and Level, like trying to make a difference, make this. We know there's a struggle. I mean, anyone that's high on the rock knowing that it's just, I mean, I've grown up in a lot of neighborhoods. I've grown up in Germany. I've grown up in Texas. I've grown up in Jersey, North Carolina, Georgia. I've seen like all these different neighborhoods of people and how I've been treated. I mean, I remember when I first got here in DC and I went to West Virginia, which is not exactly the most welcome state for black folk, I must be honest. And I remember going to a casino. I took my mom to a casino, and the first thing I heard someone say was, this was like maybe 2000 something, like late 2008, I don't know, 9, 10? No, it's probably 2012. It was right after Obama got elected. And the first thing someone says is, I bet y'all glad y'all got that in the office. And I told him, I said, I don't know. I said, maybe I am, but I said, I'd have to have some of your help because if every black person in the U.S. voted for him, I still would need someone else. And it's just that, like that comment, like judging a man on looks. You know, you don't know nothing about me. You know, people don't know about me. You know, and it's just, and you know, and the things like the police, like I got Fairfield Square police officers, and he's getting a hard time. He's in North Carolina, and he's getting his house vandalized because he's just a cop. You know, kind of the whole guilty by association type thing. One cop bad, all of them bad, which is not true. But you know, I disagree.
I disagree.
You think all cops are bad?
Let me explain that.
I mean, that's a yes or no question. There is no in between. Either they all are or they aren't. So you need to answer the question, yes or no.
Yes. If you're witnessing something happen and you do nothing about it, that makes you bad by association.
No. I said all cops. I didn't say the cops. I said if one cop is bad, every single cop in the world is bad. That's what I'm asking.
You don't think that's a little bit more shaded than just yes or no or black and white?
This is not even a black and white thing when someone's getting treated unfairly.
True.
You know, like I give you on your side with George Floyd, the guy who puts the knee in this guy. Those other cops who are with him who do nothing about it, they're just as guilty as he is. They see a wrong being done. They're a cop. They got that man knowing he can't breathe, and they don't step in. Those are all bad cops. Now my frat brother, who's sitting here in Raleigh as a state trooper, who's doing his job, and all of a sudden he hears about this. Oh, he's not wrong because some other cop did something wrong. He's over there trying to figure out how to do it because he's getting the bad end of the stick. And I know this guy. I mean, I tutored this guy. He was my mentor. He was my godchild at one point, and he's having a hard time just because all these other kind of cops. And it's not just cops. It's just racist people. It's just people who just don't treat people fairly in the first place. You know, it's so many problems from that. I mean, brutality happens of all races. I mean, it just happens on the same race for that matter. You know? And I just can't see why we just can't be respectful. I don't know what the challenge is. I don't know what the mental process is in some people that they just cannot get beyond these barriers that seem to me so insignificant. You know, like me, I'm a big, tall, black Samoan man. So I'm automatically, visually a threat to many people. Because, oh my God, this is a big black guy. Don't let me go in a white neighborhood. Prime example, my parents, when I came back, when I was in college, my parents came back from Germany. and they were in the Hampton Roads area. So I went up from college to go see them. My first time seeing them since they got back from Germany, I was going to go see the house. And I pull up in front of their driveway, and my parents aren't home. Their neighbor, who happened to be a white lady, called the police on me. And so I'm sitting there waiting. All of a sudden, 5-0's there. What are you doing here? I'm sitting waiting for your parents. Do you live here? I said, no, this is my parents' house. I said, can you prove it? Well, I said, I can hear them. You can call them. So, and he said, well, I'll just wait and see if your story goes through. I had to show him my ID and all this stuff because my middle name happens to be my dad's first name. You know, he's E9 in the Army. So I could sit there and wait for like an hour and a half for my dad to get home. And in one of those Hampton Roads area, you know how bad them dumb tunnels get. Driving around 64 and all that mess. And so I just sit there for him to verify. And of course, my dad likes to kind of sometimes throw his rank around, like, yeah, you know, I'm a sergeant in the Army, you know. Who are you? And just to validate who I am, because my parents' neighbor didn't really want to have a non-Caucasians in the neighborhood, and so she always calls stuff like that. And like I said, it's just one of the things. It's just I shouldn't have to deal with that. You know, I know there's like, you know, neighborhood watch and all that stuff, but you know, the ladies out there in the yard, like, she could have come and asked, are you looking for something? Can I help you out? I didn't call the police on me. I'm sitting here coming from college, just trying to see my mom and dad, who I haven't seen in 3 years, who came back from Germany. And it's just this whole world, man. Like I said, the problem is this world we're all gonna be dead and gone before we even get remotely close to some kind of good cause here.
Man, I gotta say, since I've been dating Squee, my girlfriend, and she's of Caribbean Indian descent, every time we go to a store, I see it now. I used to not see it when we first started dating, but you know, immediately, oh, can we help you? And then all of a sudden, there's always someone in the aisle that we're in. You know, not the other aisles where all the white people are on their own. If I'm on my own, there's no one watching me. As soon as I'm with her, there's always eyes on us. Like I said, it doesn't need to be blatant. Doesn't need to be a white person calling a black person the N-word and beating them up for it to be racism. And that's the problem. People don't want to see it that way.
Like,
I mean,
I'm a black person. I don't have any desire to use the N-word with a hard R. That shows a lack of education, a lack of vocabulary. Like, what's the good? What's the point? You can't find another word in the dictionary. Do you need someone to help you out with a choice word? You know, I just don't get it.
Can I speak a little bit on that too? Even when I do not, by the way, want to get into a long conversation about what I'm about to say. Just to clarify, like, amongst each other, when it comes to people in the community who think, oh, yo, you're a black streamer, let me start dropping the M-bombs in chat. You know, I personally as a black man, like, my perspective, like, I don't. It's all unnecessary. It's all unnecessary. There's so many words, not that particular word that's so extremely controversial and things like that. But there's always chances to expand on our vocabularies and, you know, and say something else. You know, even if within the black community people feel, you know, oh, it's okay, man, you can use that word because, you know, you're one of us. I personally don't use it in my vocabulary, so, you know, I'm definitely not gonna appreciate it or allow it to come from somebody who don't look like me. So I just wanted to say that.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. You know, I think that's one of the things that even in the black community, people will disagree whether it's cool to use that word, whether it's not. Mostly it's universally accepted that if you ain't black and you say it, you in trouble. You know, but I don't want anyone to say it personally.
And while we're on that, people fight to use that word so hard.
Dude.
Fight harder to use that word than they fight for these people out here dying.
Yeah, can we find something else to argue about? You know, really? You know, like I was telling my mom today because, you know, they're talking about like some of these statues they're knocking down and stuff and whatnot, and I guess people are just going crazy over that. You know, with the things I know that the Marine Corps has just put things out about taking down Confederate flags, you know, on all Marine Corps bases now and all these things, and man, I don't know, man. It's just one of those things that I think, and I mean, I feel like all of us at some point may have falsely judged someone. May it be just like a homeless person on the street, and we kind of want to help them, but we kind of don't because we don't know what they're going to do. We kind of judge them because of their financial or living situation. I'm guilty of that. I can't say I haven't just walked by someone, nor am I in a place to always help them every single time either. I don't think anybody is. Well, not most of us common folk anyway.
Well, John, one thing I could say, when I met you at, I think it was AGDQ 2015, you're not a small dude, and it's starting. I'm like, holy shit, like, who's that? And I was with Frankie, and we're hanging out, and and then he introduced me, and I'm like, you're like one of the kindest, gentlest person I know. And still, like, just with that first impression, with just the visual feedback, like, at the back of my head, there was a bit of a judgment, a bit of a preconceived idea that, I don't want to fuck with this guy. But it had nothing, like, I couldn't have been farther from the truth. I'm like,
I know. I wish I was
what I mean.
I need to be like cute, like Level, man. I'm like, I mean, because like prime example, you don't know. Again, AGQ 14. From me going to like speedrunning events, every time after an event is over, someone in my chat always comes and says, "I saw you, but I was kind of scared to approach you." I'm like, just say hi. I know I'm big and wonderful and all, but just.
You can't help that.
Yeah, I was raised to treat people correctly. I'm not raised to say, "Give me your money, punk." Like, that's just not me.
You're a giant teddy bear.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. BigJon's just a big old teddy bear.
Unless you mess with my money, my mama, or my computer, then we got a problem. I say that I've been saying it for years on my stream. You mess with my money, my mama, computer, we're gonna have a problem.
Oh, I feel that.
So,
right there with you, brother.
Yeah, man.
Don't touch my computer or my family like that.
Dude, man, I am not happy with. I don't know about y'all. When my computer is down, I am cranky. I am a mean guy.
Same.
I cannot function.
Oh man,
it's bad enough the internet goes out, but if my computer is like not functioning, oh my goodness, it's just like the world is about to end for me.
I'm an IT consultant and a tech, and I can fix anyone's computer, and I have the craziest amount of patience to fix the problem. When it's my equipment, I just lose it.
Right?
Yeah, mom was like, "What's wrong with you?" Like, "Mom, my computer said, oh, never mind, I'll leave you alone." So, but anyway, it's just that's just one of those things, man. It's just I have to. I remember talking to someone a few days ago about, and it's almost a real thing, and maybe even Loa can understand this. It's like sometimes some of us as Black people have to make ourselves look less intimidating, less scary, so that maybe these very, very angsty cops will not want to draw their guns or make us want to get out of cars or something, or assume negative intentions just because we maybe just be driving home from work. I mean, I can't count how many times I've been stopped in DC. Since I've lived up here, I've been here since 2005. I've probably been stopped at least 10 times just looking for folk. I'm a car, I had a decent car, so did I steal it? It's just things I shouldn't have to do. No one should have to deal with that. Race regardless, it shouldn't have to be like that. But it's just like, I'm driving home, because like I said, a lot of times I drive a long distance. I'm coming from Aberdeen Proving Ground, driving back to DC, or I usually work, for the military, I work 3-4 day shifts, and when I get home, it's 1, 2 in the morning, and I'm driving through Alexandria or something. It's just like, I shouldn't have to have that. I shouldn't have to have that, man. It's just, and it's a real thing, man. It's like, I remember even as a kid, I asked my grandma, I was like, why is it so hard to be Black? It just one of the things, because I saw how the white folk got treated, and I was like, how come I can't get treated like that? Why am I always getting judged? Why are they on me so hard about everything? And it's one of the things that you just have to, sometimes you have that first-hand experience that hopefully you shouldn't have to have it all. You just, but I mean, I'm older, I know how to coach, I know those people are idiots, so I don't lose no sleep over the night knowing that they're the ones with the mental issues, the judging problems. You know, some folks are just stuck. Man, my grandma said people are just stuck on this, stuck on stupid, man, and they can't shift out that gear. They're in there. It's been ingrained, and it's all I can. Like my grandma said, all she can do is pray for them. But of course, I hope the people like us who are doing something like this event, raise money for these causes to help get this equality, get this uniform treatment, to get these people the justice, to help rebuild things that have happened from the protest. I mean, I hope that can do and make a dent into the issue that it's just been going on for years and years and years and years and years, man. It's just, you know, whether you can't physically get out because, you know, maybe you got people that got to take care of, or financially I think we're all having financial challenges in a manner of speaking, either be reduced hours or we're having to work overtime for not any extra pay. And yeah, man, I've just had to it's been exhausting for me mentally, because like I said, I'm trying to do stuff. I'm trying to see what's going on, see where I can help more than I already, you know, preach on my stream, because, you know, people know my stream, you know, they drop something that's out of context or any kind of offensive, they out, because you know, that's I can't cure stupidity, you know. I can preach all I want to, but you know, some folks, it takes a while for them. Sometimes, like my grandma said, sometimes you just get put in the wrong situation. All of a sudden, you wake up and pay attention. Then, you know, I remember telling my stream last week about an episode of The Jeffersons, where they were in the building they lived in. They had this group of people who were trying to make a change in the building, saying it was overcome with something, and it just so happened to be a meeting of the KKK. And I remember that guy had a son who was he was trying to basically convert him into that mentality that, you know, white power, you know, black people are, you know, nothing. And I remember his dad had a heart attack, and George Jefferson saved his life. And after his son told him who saved his life, he told him that you should just let me die, because he didn't want to have any kind of help from a black person. Of course, he obviously didn't say black person then. That's why sometimes I sometimes miss TV shows from like in the late 70s, 80s, because they really had those hardcore things that nowadays, if it was on TV, oh Lord, people would be going crazy. But some of that stuff needs to be shown now to some of these people who still have this archaic mentality that some, like, one race is superior and should be superior to all the other ones, you know. And I feel for those people who just can't wake up, man. I feel for the people who just can't get it. I hurt for the people who are victims of those people who can't get it, or people who abuse their power. You know, you anybody in a Discord server where someone just abused their power? You just don't. If you just don't say anything, they like ban. You know, not even try to identify if they may be in the wrong or have a wrong. They're just like, you know what? I don't like you, ban. You know, and but that's my thoughts, man. I mean, I have so much that I've just been talking to people all week now about, and I'm not trying to take over this whole thing. It's just been a lot going on here. Like I said, I'm trying to, like you all been doing this event for, you know, many days here, and you know, I'm trying to do something. I'm trying to work with someone else, and I'm trying to help out with the people here in my frat brothers who are trying to do some stuff and get some fundraising efforts together and help out people that are in need and stuff. And on top of that, make sure my mom is okay, because, you know, she's doubly worried now with the coronavirus. You know, she's still kind of like I am, you know, like, you know, everybody's rioting and protesting, but, you know, that stuff is still out there. And, you know, I hope to God that people don't have it, but it's just like comes like a breeding ground potentially, you know, because, you know, that's, you know, it's just two very important things just kind of just hammered on top of each other, man. You know, and all I can do is just pray that things will somewhat work out, you know, for everybody.
There's a lot of fucked up shit. There's a lot of bad people out there, but there's also a lot of good people out there willing to change things and do their part. I mean, we as grim and dire as things look, you know, we got to have hope. And, you know,
Yeah.
Like I was telling Level Best, it sucks that it took George Floyd's murder for a lot of people to rally together and finally, me being one of them, because I wasn't thinking about all these issues like actively before this happened. But now that I am, I don't intend to let go. I don't intend to just use a hashtag to be cute on the internet. You know, like I was watching the protest in DC the day that Trump staged his photo op. And that's when I saw that, that's the precise moment I'm like, I can't do a marathon for anything else but that cause. I was pissed. I was crying of sadness. I was raging. I'm white and I'm Canadian, so I cannot start to imagine what it's like for the black community out there.
I'm not, man. I'm not a very vulgar person, but man, the devil was in me when I saw that. I tell you that. I just wanted to that's why I go to the gym, so I can work on my frustration, because man, I just want to go punch somebody. And I was so furious at that. I'm just, oh boy, that just.
And I mean, and I'm sure I'm not the only one, and that gives me hope. It gives me hope that people are uncomfortable. It gives me hope that people are angry and voicing it and doing something about it, you know? And that's why I reached out to you on Twitter, and I wanted you to be here because it was important to me, man. I love you and I respect you a lot. And when I changed the cause for this event, and LevelBest LevelBest like really took our platform and started kind of being the face of Black Lives Matter on our stream, and it just happened. And there's no way in hell I was not going to let this happen. I'm like, this is what we're working for. You know, we can't just be supporting a charity and be like, okay, yeah, you know, we're raising money. That's it. That's all. We're done. You know? So thank you to you, JRoc, because by the way, people, JRoc joined in. That's who you heard earlier in Discord. TheLevelBest. And I mean, like I said, Level was like, oh, you know, sorry for hijacking the run, whatever. I'm like, doesn't matter. We'll restart the run. Right now, this is what matters. This is what's important. And we'll take the time it takes. We have a couple of runs left. They can wait. That doesn't matter. They can wait. And I just want to thank each and every single one of you for coming on here and sharing your words, thoughts, and your feelings and all this crazy shit that's been happening, because it's important. And right now we have Twitch front page, so there hasn't been a better time for us to be able to give you that platform. And I mean, it's not much. It's what I can do, but I'm willing to do what I can. And if everyone was doing that, use the means that you have to push for change, positive change. If more and more people do that, then eventually, somewhere down the line, meaningful change will happen.
Yeah, man.
You know?
Exactly right. And don't be afraid to lose a couple friends in the process.
Oh, I mentioned this earlier. When we changed for the Bail Project, it did cross my mind. I'm like, are we going to lose runners? And I'm like, you're not going to lose runners. You're going to lose bigots. And that's fine. Mm-hmm. And as a matter of fact, I also praised the community for this, but no, everyone stayed the course. No one jumped ship, and everyone doubled down to support this important, urgent cause. So honestly, kudos to the speedrunning community, the NoReset community. I love you all, and it makes me proud of what we've been doing up until now, and it only gives me more strength to keep going and do even better, bigger things in the future. And, you know, like I said, as modest as our platform is, it won't be used for evil, and it'll be used for the greater good. Even if it's a speck of dust in the universe, it'll be a good one. You know what I mean?
Hey, can I interrupt you just for one quick second? I see. Thank you for changing the title. I noticed you, not just the everything on the screen. There's a lot of Black Lives Matter. The camera's gone. The host is Black Lives Matter, and it says more important things. BigJon, TheLevelBest, and JRoc. It's a little funny to me. It's unfortunate because every time it comes to JRoc, like something always happens with his name. But it should read BigJon, TheLevelBest, and JRocTheGod to make it accurate.
It was edited on the fly. If you could,
yeah,
no problem. Just wanted to bring it to your attention.
I mean,
someone
that's totally
type it in full.
having my Discord name wrong. So
yeah, we based it off your Discord.
Yeah,
so.
exactly.
It's always something, though. It's always something.
Yeah.
It's just bad luck. It's really bad luck.
I'll type in chat real quick.
Yeah, your actual Twitch channel, so people can go and follow each and every single one of you.
Yeah, give it to me, and I'll fix it right now.
I'm typing in chat right now.
I posted it in the RE2, the host channel.
Oh, I didn't see it. Okay, I'll get that.
And also, Kathleen, thank you so much for being such a good sport about this.
Oh yeah, no worries. I'll happily pause my run for this.
Yes.
Oh man, she was gonna run. I'm sorry. Look,
No,
I
it is,
can't.
it
I
is,
was.
it is absolutely okay. We promise.
Yeah.
Trust me.
I,
Yeah,
like, we
no
promise,
worries,
we were all
Big
like,
John.
house and I came back in. I saw like a little speaking segment. I'm like, okay. I didn't know if you were done or. If,
John, we're
My
gonna
bad.
we're gonna start the run over.
Yeah.
It's like I said,
Yeah.
like we put more important things on the schedule and we mean it. And right
Yeah.
now, that's what's going on.
That's
And
cool.
it'll be done when it's done. And
Yeah,
that's all.
This is
Exactly.
important. We're
Yeah.
fine.
I got all
So
the
I've
time
been-
in the world for you guys to talk as much as you'd like, so I'm here for it.
Thank you. And after hearing Big John speak, and things like that, I realized, the first, and it's not a bad thing. I'm just gonna clarify that before I continue my point. It was the first time, when Big John mentioned, cops and and JRoc had, something to say. This is the first time we've had like some kind of genuine. I mean, it's been a discussion, it's been a conversation, but this is the first time that in the chat amongst the runners or the people voicing their opinions and things, there was any kind of like back and forth. Not to say it was a bad thing. It's important to speak up on the things you feel, because maybe you're looking at some things one way and you have the opportunity to change someone's mind about it. And I think it was really powerful coming from two people who can speak on the Black experience and things like that. So we need to have everybody. If you're white, you need to have a conversation with like your fellow white people. You Black, have a conversation with your fellow Black people, and then we need to get together and all have a conversation together, because once the way things are right now, there's a lot of diversity and things like that, but ultimately the goal is to have a world where we don't have to, we shouldn't have to, skin color shouldn't be a thing. It's a concept that was created to keep people down and keep people up. So until that's not the case, it's unfortunately something that it's going to be done in that manner. I believe there's a hierarchy of things that need to be addressed. So until we can't ignore and go, I can't have this conversation, just be as people and people and never once be afraid to use the word Black, because I feel like I'm gonna offend somebody. I'm proud to be Black. I'm proud to be a Black streamer. I'm proud to be a Black gamer, and I'm proud to be a Black man who stands up and supports what he believes in. And it's important. Until the color of your skin doesn't matter, it's important. And
basically, we don't need to have a conversation about breathing, right? It's second nature to us. So until we live in a world where we don't need to have conversations about race, then we got to keep working towards that goal. It needs to be second nature. We need to not think about the color of skin of someone else affecting how we treat them or how we perceive them. It needs to become first nature. God damn it! Like we just need to be better, everyone together. That's really what it comes down to. Just be better human beings to all human beings. It's frustrating when you think it's so simple, because you understand and you're like, okay, like racism is bad, bigotry is bad, but it's not even that simple, because you might be thinking that you're not racist, and deep down there's some core mechanics that you were brought up with that ultimately makes you racially biased, or that's why I keep saying, keep questioning yourself, speak up. If there's a family member that's saying bigoted stuff or acting in a way that they shouldn't be acting towards another person, regardless of their skin color, call them out, engage a conversation with them, talk to them. Because if you don't, then basically you're putting your head in the sand, and like I said, you're being a part of the problem, not the solution.
And it's not politics anymore. It's definitely not. It's human rights. That's what it comes down to. So
Honestly, that's exactly what I've been saying. Like when we changed the charity, they're like, "Oh, NoReset's getting political." Someone mentioned that. I'm like, no, NoReset is being human. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh no, I was just saying, like, if those of you who also stream or who have some sort of online presence, because no presence is too small. If people complain that, oh, it's this, I came to your stream because there was no politics. It's like, well, this isn't politics. This is these are humans.
These are lives, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they even roll this into a political thing, man. Like,
Right?
And I'm sorry, I don't have much to say. I just want to say thank you to BigJon and JRocTheGod for being present for this, because for this marathon's been going on for like 3 days, and I've been the only I've been the only person speaking like from the Black experience. So I'm happy to have you guys here to talk a bit about it from your perspective. Know that even if you guys in chat have been vibing with everything that I have to say and agree with everything I have to say, I'm only one guy. I can only view the world from my own mind and perceive all this information to the best of my personal ability. So I appreciate having you guys here to attest to these things and speak from your perspective, because we all experience different things. I talked a little bit this morning and mentioned in a message that I wrote to my community. It was like, I never once in my life had a bad interaction with police, or had one of my family members killed by police, but I can empathize the hell out of the families that do have to deal with this stuff. And just because it hasn't happened in my personal life doesn't mean I can pretend it doesn't exist. Or it's crazy. People like, oh, this can't be. I've never seen it, but you never seen it in your store, or you've never seen it in your town or whatever. But that doesn't change the fact that it happens. So thank you guys for using your experience and your age and just putting it out there for everybody to see that this is real. And that's it.
yeah, it's kind of cool because I must say it's with J-Rock and Level in here. It's kind of funny because I know Level kind of sees like J-Rock as kind of like a bigger brother, and then J-Rock kind of sees me as a bigger brother since I'm like 80 years old now and stuff. So
It was more like the cool uncle, you know what I mean?
the uncle, okay, well, that means I'm even older then, I guess. So.
I'm gonna step away for a bit to make some calls, guys. But keep it going. I'm glad y'all here, because I don't have to be the only one.
You did it purposely, man, just to make you stand on your own, man, right? Strong black man.
Wait, what did you say, Jay? I'm sorry.
I said we did it to make you stand on your own.
Oh.
You said you're a strong black man, right? Stand on your own 2 feet.
Man,
Hey, man,
he has courage. I'll say that.
I'm only human, and we all got feelings, right?
Yeah, no, man, I know. I'm
All right, so I'll be right back. Much love, y'all.
Thanks, man.
Take care.
Thanks for being here, LevelBest.
Once again, John, J-Rock, thank you guys for joining us on this.
I mean, it's been a pleasure having me, even though I haven't said anything quite yet. But I guess, I guess I'll touch on a few things that was said earlier, and you guys are saying like this turning into some people saying that this is turning political when it's not. I think people who are trying to paint this as political were just giving themselves a reason to either hide how they really feel or avoid feeling uncomfortable in the situation. And right now, I don't think anybody should be comfortable in feeling comfortable, because if you just listen to what BigJon was talking about and what Level's been talking about, like, we have not been comfortable for as long as I can remember. BigJon talked about being a large black man. I'm not quite his size, but I'm almost there. Give me a few more weeks in the gym. I make it a habit. Like, I've seen Catlin can vouch for this. She's seen me out of town a couple of times. I don't wear all black anywhere, and there's a reason for that, because I know I get profiled. I was profiled as recently as PAX West in Seattle when I was walking around. I think it was a CVS or Rite Aid. I don't even remember what it was, but I was just going in looking for some breath mints, and there was an armed security guard walking around, and he was following me from aisle to aisle with his hand on his gun. So I'm just obviously nervous because this dude is looking for me to do something that I'm not going to do. So I just got my breath mints. I went to the counter. I went to the lady. I'm like, so what's the deal with you guys armed security? And she says, we don't have armed security.
Whoa.
That's crazy.
That's
that is
fucked up, man.
Yeah.
Man, I mean, I feel nervous when the cops are following me on the highway, you know, just being behind me. I can't fucking imagine.
Yeah.
And that dude, oh man.
And that shit just shouldn't happen.
That sounds like a fucking horror movie right there. Honestly, like, you know, the call actually came from inside the house, but it's real and it's not a fucking movie. God damn it.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know what else I can add at the moment because I got here late. I've been in and out. I've been popping in and out.
No worries.
And you're all good.
That's just the world we live in, man. You know.
Doesn't mean that it has to be the world we live in forever, though. And
yeah, that's right, man.
Let's work. Let's work towards that, everyone. Like I was saying, like, you know, black, white, yellow with purple polka dots shouldn't matter. You know, like.
Yeah, man. So, I said, you all like G said, man. If you all got a thought, if you all, you know, I can understand some people hesitancy of going out and about because, you know, I mean, my mom figures from my life every time I walk outside. She's like, you know, it may seem soft, but she's like, I love you. She's like, be careful. I'm like, Mom, I'm a grown man. Well, still be careful because she knows what's out there. She knows that there's some dumb people, there's some idiots, and you know, you know, sometimes you can wake up with all the best intention of the day, and many people every day don't make it through that day. You know, for unexpected reasons and for whatever reason it may be. And so while we're here on this earth, we gotta make the best of we can. And that means, you know, put out a tweet that's gonna get some unfollows on your Twitter account. So be it. That'd be alright. You'll be alright because you did the right thing. That's the issue.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh yeah, man.
You're gonna be even better for it because you don't need those people. And
exactly.
Yeah, man. Make room for the real folk.
I like to think that I walk through this life doing what's right, or at least what I believe is right. I mean, have I made mistakes? Yes. Am I gonna make mistakes? Yes. But at least I'm trying. Those mistakes can't come from the right place. Like everyone, you know, if you're afraid of repercussions for simply speaking out against something that is fundamentally wrong, and you're afraid to speak out, just don't. Just don't. Know that yes, things will change. Probably some friendships will be broken. Maybe even family members won't talk to you. But at the end of the day, you'll be at peace with yourself because you will have done what's right and you'll know it. And if there's anyone out there, anyone that tells you any different, they don't matter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and on the speedrun aspect, I must say I don't know how many people in chat attended ESA, either the last one physically in person in the winter or last year in the summer. But as a black person, in my first time in Sweden at the event, I had no issues. People approached me with no problem. And well, at least where I was, I would say it wasn't that many black folk in Sweden where I was. I seemed to stand like a sore thumb over there. And not one issue of any kind of race discriminatory. Everybody. I'm talking about when I went there at the hotel, across the street in the mall, when I went out and about to like the casino, and like maybe I don't know if it's the whole country or just generally where I was there in Malmo, but it was so nice to spend a whole week in a foreign country and not have any of that kind of stuff that I almost encounter once a week here in the U.S. You know? It's such a good feeling to be welcomed, you know, where people speak to you and they're not hesitant, even though I'm like 4 times their size and whatnot. It's such a good feeling to see someone say hi and they respond back, hey, how you doing? And not even see, you know, how much melanin is in my skin. You know, it's such a good feeling. And I hope the more of the world was like that. At least where I was there, that little confined area of Malmo, and even in Denmark when I was there, it was a really good feeling. And like I said, man, I'm sorry that we have to go through this. I mean, even some of them, like I said, and it does happen both ways too. You know, it can happen the opposite way because, you know, some of us black folks sometimes will not treat the white folk, and that ain't right either. Quite honestly, you know, none of it is right, no matter what your color is or whatever. I mean, it's something we all gotta work on. You know, we ain't perfect.
But once again, you know, there's good people no matter what their skin color. There's bad people no matter what their skin color, and you know, the difference being that if a black person is wary of a white person, there's history, there's baggage, there's a reason why, you know, and that's the whole thing with, you know, people saying all lives matter and all that bullshit. I'm like, you don't understand. This is not the point. We're not saying that the other lives don't matter. It's just that right now, that's the house that's on fire. That's the fire we need to put out right now. Mm-hmm. The fact that we're not hosing down the other houses doesn't mean that that we don't care about the other ones. Oh, but what about stopping, you know, the fire from spreading? Just shut up. It's a metaphor.
Yeah.
You know, we need to put out the fire on the first house first as quickly as we can, because that's the one that has, you know, people in it, and we need to get them out, put out the fire, and start working on rebuilding that house, because the other houses are fine.
That's one of those things that you see literally every year on Twitter. Oh, I'm sorry, on Twitch as a platform for Black History Month. You know.
Yeah, I know.
You know, it's every year you're gonna see Twitch make that tweet. Hey, we're gonna promote our black content creators, and what happens? 25% of the thread. What about it's? I just have to just take a deep breath, man.
Oh, but it's like, you know, people for like Pride Month, you know, they're like, oh, why isn't there like a straight month? I'm like, yeah, but no one's ever been burned on the stake for being straight.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, like.
The brains of some people just it boggles my mind, man.
If you want another good analogy for the I guess the Black Lives Matter movement, I saw another comic recently where, you know, someone fell and like broke their leg, and then that person with the broken leg asked another person for help, but then that person's standing there and says, what about my legs? It's like, but your leg's not broken. You don't need the help. So, you know, for if you have family members that have a hard time understanding, you just, you know, I plan on, I'm not looking forward to the discussion I'm going to have with my parents, because I grew up in a, you know, different, my dad's white, my mom's Filipino, but they lean, you know, on a certain side. So it's like, I'm going to have these discussions with them, and it's like, I know I could show them those comics and at least start there, you know?
Yeah.
I know what you. By the way, I just want to point out, Hurry Boy from Paris, who's right now in Paris, France, a black member of our community who's been, who ran Outbreak File 2 with 3 of his speedrunner friends, just joined us. Welcome, Hurry Boy.
Hurry Boy.
Thank you for having me, guys. I'm gonna apologize in advance for my English because sometimes it can be so-so. What I wanted to say is the fact that racism is also in France, but not as bad as it is in America. And seeing what's happening right now actually make me so angry, because this is something black people has been fighting for like centuries, if I must say. And seeing that black people are always put down by those cops and by the politics made me sick. I'm just gonna be quick. I'm just gonna say thank you to the NoReset Speedrun channel to make that charity event, because this is something we need to fight against. I mean, the racism. I'm just trying to share my support to all black people in the US, because, as I said, there is racism in France, but it's not as bad as it is in the US. I don't know personally TheLevelBest, JRocTheGod, or BigJon, or any other black streamer, but I'm just gonna say that I'm with you on that fight. Even though I'm like in France, I'm gonna fight for you guys, even if I have to fight until my last breath. and I appreciate you. I appreciate all of you guys being part of the event. Even if you can't donate, even if you're just watching, that still matters for us. And all I want to say is just thank you guys.
Right back at you, brother. Thank you for being with us.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, Harry.
Yes, sir.
We appreciate you, Harry.
Yeah, well said, man.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Harry.
And honestly, and that's I just wish people would understand what I've seen by just going to all these speedrunning events, you know, all over North America, and meeting people of all, you know, cultures and creeds, and you know, sexual orientation, gender identification, everything in between. Just all I've seen is wonderful people, man. Like no matter what. And I just wish a lot more people could understand that and see it that way. Like, to me, it's such like that's what's frustrating, really. That's what's really enraging, is that it seems like it's just, you know, such a no-brainer. But unfortunately, no-brainer is
People
also
don't have
something that
brains.
exactly. I was gonna say, no-brainer describes a lot of people, unfortunately, and you know. But you know, like I said, you know, baby steps, hope, and people just coming together, you know, and just working in the same direction and working towards just making this world a better place. That's basically what it is, you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And don't stop. Never
Don't stop. And to speak on that further, like Hurry Boy saying he doesn't know how to help. I know there's been a plethora of people who didn't know how to help or didn't know what to say. And there's a list of things you can do outside of just obviously donating to this cause and trying to support this cause. And people who can't protest because whether you're just like completely nervous about being out there or you have a sick family to take home, there's things you can do. There's other causes you can support. You can not exactly go to like protests, but there's been cases of people who've been setting up outside of protests and with like water stations and food and feeding the people, like basically our soldiers. I don't want to use that analogy, but I couldn't think of another word in the second. Like the people who've been fighting for us the hardest on the front lines, like doing what we can to support them is most important. And that's why this here is most important, because they're fighting for something that they shouldn't have to fight for.
Mm-hmm.
And the Bail Project, not only with bailing out our innocent protesters, I'm sure you guys have probably heard at some point too, they have also been providing masks for people who are incarcerated. So that's huge, especially as you guys know with COVID going on.
Mm-hmm.
So if you like, I don't know what else to add. Like this has obviously been an emotional week for me. So I apologize. My thoughts are like still all over the place.
Oh, you're all good.
No need to apologize.
No need to apologize, JRoc. You're fine.
You know, and I was looking up who said that, and you know, I feel ignorant because it was actually Martin Luther King. But you know, talking about the protesters and everything, but one has a moral responsibility to disobey unjust laws.
Yeah.
And stand up to them.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was also Martin Luther King who said, I'm kind of paraphrasing here, but protests and riots are the actions and the pains of the unheard.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And trust me, we've been unheard for quite some time. So like this is just it's
It's hard to find the words because we shouldn't be looking for them in 2020 in the first place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say once again, guys, if you want to make a change, take a look at yourself and start making that change with yourself. Make people around you change about themselves, about what they're actually thinking. If they think that black people don't matter, make them realize that they are in the wrong. make sure to actually spread love and everything you got in your heart about that. Like, I'm actually losing my words because I'm shaking right now because we shouldn't be talking about it. And this is something my parents had to live with. And that make me so angry that even right now, black people, especially in the US, had to deal with that. We should have been done with that case of racism centuries ago, if I must say. But yeah.
By the way, Kaksusora, it's just like English is not his first language, but what he meant that not that we shouldn't be talking about it, but we shouldn't be needing to talk about it at this point. That's what he meant, and I could agree more.
Thanks for the clarification. And again,
no worries, man.
sorry for my bad English. Like,
you're okay.
The message is still very clear.
Mon ami, on parle pas le même français, mais on se comprend.
Exactement.
Oh man, because I'm from Quebec, he's from France, and we have two very different form of French in terms of slang and everything, and that's what I just have. Like, we don't speak the same kind of French, but we do understand one another.
And if I can add something, the French Canadian isn't the real French. Just saying.
Wow.
Allez.
Let's just like, I'm that type of guy who always laugh, and even if like this is a serious subject, I feel like we actually have to keep the smile on our face, even though we are actually going through a bad time.
I mean, if me and you, who are literally separated by the Atlantic, can see eye to eye and just, you know, be able to love one another, you know, and that's the thing. Like, we're on the internet, we've never seen each other per se, and you know,
I actually appreciate you already.
Likewise, man. And before you said you were black, I didn't know you were black because you mentioned it, like, you know, and to me it didn't. Okay, cool. You're hurry boy. You're not your skin color. You're not, you know.
Yeah.
I just wish a lot more people would realize that. And I think that the younger generations, you know, meeting a lot of people online, not seeing them, and just getting to know them through either video games or online communities and all that stuff, I think it does open a lot more people to other people from other places and creeds. And, you know, it's just, I don't know, man. I just hope that, like I said, everyone could just get along on this little ball of fire that we live in. Seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here.
He's there Putin's friends. Lol.
Oh man. Don't worry. Thank you everyone for being here. I love and appreciate each and every single one of you. Can't be said enough. And thank you for taking the time and, you know, coming, because it'll never mean as much coming from me, a white person, as it will coming from you guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I can preach as much as I want, but in the end, you know, these issues are affecting you. You know, even though I'm on your side, like I said, I'll never understand the black experience because I'll never be able to go through it myself. But that doesn't mean that I can see that there's something fundamentally wrong with the way things are, the status quo.
You may think it doesn't, but trust me, it means a lot more than you realize, words and actions, because I'm sure BigJon can attest to this too, that we've never felt like this many white people have stood with us, especially this strongly, than in this moment. So yes, it does absolutely mean a lot.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like we've all had this desire to have this equality, but it always takes something to light that fire again for that presence. And this happened to be at this time. You know, it's been a multitude of deaths, of police shooting black folk that goes viral and not. But me being here in this area in Southeast DC, people are dying every day for this stuff. But nothing. But you know, it's like, oh, black person, no biggie. But when it's a white cop that kills it, oh boy, here we go. You know, even though the root cause has never been resolved, and hopefully this time is one where we kind of we're going to make a big difference off this one. It's already happening as it is. You know, it's just one of those times where now it's just like, you know, this is just enough.
Like things are actually happening and change can actually be seen already. And you know, there's one, I saw a tweet from Will Smith, I think it was a couple of weeks ago, like when the protest started, and that honestly I was like, holy shit, you know. And that's right, and I think that's why these events, as opposed to, you know, I honestly, and I'm sorry, I don't remember the years because they keep saying them on the news, but the other times that there were riots for similar events in the past. But you know, racism is not, and that's Will Smith saying this, racism is not getting worse, it's getting filmed. And I think that's a huge part of it, the fact that it can't just be nipped under the bud, because people will film, people will post, will tweet, will share on Facebook, you know, well, even TikTok, like, you know,
and there's consequences for it, as there always should be. But now since everyone's filming it, it's like, yeah, there's real repercussions. So.
Yeah, and accountability is crowdsourced. That's really what it is. You know, everyone can film, everyone can be a witness, an advocate, and speak out, you know, and be a whistleblower to these issues, you know.
Yeah. And I almost lost the thought, but someone mentioned like it took George Floyd to do it, but it's unfortunately unfortunate that's happened. But even though it's happened to George Floyd, there's still been recent cases that were huge one day and kind of forgotten the next. And this was like my biggest fear with this personally, is that this was going to turn into like a 2-day thing, and I'm just, you know, relieved in a sense to see the energy still going, but like there's still a list of names beyond George Floyd that deserve justice. Breonna Taylor still deserves justice. Ahmaud Arbery, Tamir Rice. Let's not forget what happened with Trayvon Martin, Oscar Grant, Philando Castro, Eric Garner. Like this has been happening, and this has been recorded, and all of these have been recorded or documented in a huge way. Like, and they were just swept under the rug. So we're fighting for this, but we're fighting for all of them as well. And let's not.
And those are the ones that we know about.
Well, yeah,
that's the scariest thought, is that those are the ones that we know about.
Yeah.
How many
about it? It's like
unspoken.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, Trayvon Martin is what began literally the Black Lives Matter thing.
Yep.
We're talking about a decade ago, 10 years ago. We're talking about 20. You know, I'm pushing 2010 here. And look at it. You know, here we are again. All those names you heard JRoc mention, all these things, you know, almost one a year. Not that frequently, but you know, it's just, and we're talking about just 10 years of that. And we're talking about stuff that was happening in the 2000s. Forget everything, all the stupidity and messes happened in the 1900s. You know?
Well, I mean, to put things in perspective, man, like, what year was it that slavery was abolished? 1865? That's not long ago. When you consider things,
time goes by real fast.
Exactly. That's not even 2 centuries ago. You know what I mean? Like, there's still a lot of work to be made. And I mean, if it was that bad, and in 65, that's when the line was drawn. I mean, like, that was one thing, a really great thing, but it's also a testament to all the work that still has yet to be done, because despite 1865, we still have everything that's happening in 2020. You know? It's insane. And I mean, those aren't things that I would have been thinking about or Googling myself, or, you know, 2 weeks ago, goddammit. And I just hope that more people are going to start thinking about those things and talking about them. We've been having discussion, me and my girlfriend. Like I said, she's from an Indian Caribbean descent. And you know, her daughter is mixed. She's pale skinned, so a lot of times you should see the looks that she gets when she's alone in the store with the daughter, and it's like people are looking at her like, "Oh, did you kidnap that kid?" Like, what the fuck, man? And those are all things I was completely oblivious to before I met her. You know, and it's, I don't know, it's mind-boggling. It's saddening. It's enraging. These are emotional times for sure. These are uncomfortable times. as the level best has said, but be uncomfortable, because I believe JRoc said, you said it yourself, you know, like, you think you're uncomfortable now? We've been uncomfortable pretty much our whole lives, and our ancestors as well, you know. So to me, it's important, and like I said, if pushing back a run by a couple of hours can actually help maybe change the mind of even one person, it's worth it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, dude, even JRoc, man, I mean, where he is, I mean, I'm here in DC, you know, around here, but I just like when I see things, and I'm like, I mean, I like call him and like, man, I hope he's okay, you know, because I'm like, I see what's going on, I see these protests and stuff, and even amongst the protests, I mean, God, depending on where you are, I mean, you're not even safe in your home. You know, I mean, something just comes to your window and ricochets off something. I mean, people losing eyes over rubber bullets and people.
Getting a like tear gas grenade like in the face. I mean, we're getting run over by a horse. You know, we've all seen the videos, and then people who are defending those acts. I mean, then you're just as bad as them. If you can't understand that a peaceful protester was their hands held up high, you know, kneeling down, not being a threat, are being assaulted, because this is what it is. It's assault, it's battery, it's sometimes murder. You can't defend that shit. Is indefensible no matter what. And yes, but there were a couple of looters and rioters 2 blocks down. Okay, then go 2 blocks down, beat them up. Take them in. Not the protesters are just exerting their right to free speech. I mean, you can't hold it against people to be fighting and to be revolting just so that they can have, you know, an equal footing in life and have the same chances as everyone else to just get through the day without being shot based on how they look and their skin color, you know? And to me, it's ironic because America was founded on that very principle, you know? The founding fathers wanted to separate from England to be free from the Queen and take their own destiny into their own hands. And I feel like a lot of Americans have forgotten that. I'm Canadian and I know about this shit. You know what I mean? Like, it's... peaceful, you know, they need to be peaceful. They've tried peaceful. People are angry. Deal with it. Why are they angry? What can we do? You know? Like, everything that we're talking about, it seems so simple, you know, but for so many people, like we said, like, there's something lacking in the brain department.
Yeah. This is a mindset. This is nothing that you could raise $1 billion for charity for all these organizations, and that can go to great things, but until we can fix these mental thoughts of people, all the money in the world can't fix that.
And I mean, if you know, and someone's been saying this, and it's true, you know, if you want to affect policy, you want to affect, you know, that's true in any democratic society in the world. But I mean, get out and vote, go vote, and you know. And while sometimes it's not exactly, there's no right answer, at least try to do the best that you can with what you got and keep advocating for what you believe is right and never let your voice be silenced.
Yeah, man.
I got a pretty big fucking mouth and I don't know what to say now. I'm
That's
speechless. I'm not saying something.
I mean, I think a lot of us have been talking about this so much over the past couple of weeks, just, you know, verbally, phone calls, tweets, messages, and it's tiring. It's tiring sometimes to, you know, you're preaching and expressing your thoughts and your frustrations and your dislike of certain things that are happening, and it's tiring, man. It really is, you know. Not saying you don't care, but just, you know, we're all still human, you know, and it's a lot to say, it's a lot to process, and you're flustered. You're trying to, like, now I'm like, even right now while I'm talking to you all, I'm sitting here watching the camera of what's going on in DC right now, just looking at people, you know, doing their doing their protesting here, you know, and just watching how the cops are acting. You know, it's just I just find myself watching that now because I'm like, you know, what's going to happen? Are they going to be okay, or is someone just going to snap and, you know, start tear gassing and whatnot? You know, watching these peaceful protests. So it's just a lot, man. It's just a lot. You just have to kind of absorb it and. Like me, like I'm gonna need, like after my day today, I'm gonna need to just like stretch out my bed and just let my brain relax, you know, because it's a lot, you know. Hopefully during that same time, some people are hearing all the things that you all have been saying all day. Hopefully those people who may be on the wrong side of this fence can absorb some of this information and fix that mental ambiguity they got, so they can see, wait a minute, I'm not doing this right. This is not what I should be doing.
Well, it happened last night when LevelBest was talking. I was being told by Shokushu that in chat, some people were trying. Well, I mean, even though they were, let's say this for the sake of argument, they were on the wrong side of the fence. By the end of LevelBest and people in chat discussing with them and explaining and making just valid points, not flaming each other, so these people were like, "Oh my god, I wasn't seeing it that way. I was wrong." Just seeing that gives me hope, you know, because that's education is probably the strongest, and communication are probably the strongest weapons we have against racism and bigotry.
It's so true. I'd like to touch on that for a second. There was actually a great article on this. A blues musician by the name of Daryl Davis, he took it upon himself to actually set up an interview with a KKK leader and talk to this man, and over years of conversations and stuff like that, he managed to actually get 200 people out of the KKK and take off their robes because of, you know, ignorance is, you know, one of those things that, you know, it can't be cured easily unless we start those conversations, those hard conversations that people don't usually want to have, right? Things have to be said for people to actually, you know, learn from each other and take away this unknown, you know, that's making everyone fear so much. You know what I mean? Like, it's hard to put into words, but it's one of those things that, you know, the more we talk about it, the more we educate each other, and the more we come together as a community. And I'd like to say thank you to all the runners and everyone else who's been working hard during this weekend for this event. It's been going amazing, and I love you all. And I can't see myself working with anyone else.
Thank you, brother. Love you too. And honestly, you're a true friend and an ally to all of us. And we're gonna keep working towards doing what's right. That's for sure. That's for damn sure.
Hear, hear, amen to that.
Always.
Chad Thorson actually wants to join in and have some words as well. Just join in general, Chad, and I'll oh, it's true, you got the role. You can join this one. Ladies and gentlemen, Chad Thorson.
Hey, Chad.
Hi.
Hello, Chad.
Hi.
I'm an absolute nobody. I'm shaking so bad right now. BigJon, LevelBest, Hurry Boy, you guys are absolute heroes for coming out and speaking on this subject. I've been very, very vocal on other platforms about this issue for the past couple of days, or ever since this whole thing started. I'm super thankful this community has come together and has come
You
together.
got this, man.
Talk about this, and you know, like John, I saw you a few days ago. I think GDQ had rated you, I think, and I was like, awesome. And it's amazing, you know. And then the fact that,
we're losing you, Chad.
Oh no.
No, Chad.
Here, did that work instead? Does that work?
Well,
Still a bit
feels
muffled.
Like you're like in an aquarium or something.
Oh, okay. Let me try one second.
Oh,
That,
there you go.
oh, that was good.
Welcome back.
Hello?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah. Well,
You're half muffled, half clear.
Oh no.
Yeah,
Don't
right
worry
before you
about it. You're
disconnected, you
okay.
were clear.
Gotcha. Let me try one more time. Hang on.
Oh, that's good.
Oh, that was it.
Oh, yo, I gotta use the restroom. I'll be right back. I'll be right back.
Oh no,
It's all good,
no
man.
worries.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
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 You are good.
Yes. Don't change that. You're good.
I think there's like two things that I do want to talk about, and how to make a really impactful change on around us. And I was talking to G-Virus about this, and I think it's really, really, really not even important, but critical that you vote. And I'm not talking to just vote for whatever is the opposite of the problem, but voting.
Yo, hello. Hello.
Oh, can you hear me?
Welcome back.
Yeah, I can hear you guys. Yeah, I don't know what happened because when I left, I had to make a phone call. My sister-in-law, I guess, to make it easy, she brought her nieces and nephews over because I told them, reached out to not just my immediate family, but the mother of my nieces and nephews, telling them that everything that's going on right now is super important, and I would love it if you guys were here to not listen to just my voice, but the voice of so many others, and take this time to educate y'all children, because these are the people that are gonna be here having these conversations. Hopefully, hopefully by the time they're our ages, they don't have to have these conversations. But if things don't change and people keep being quiet, it's the history just gonna repeat itself. But yeah, so I stepped out. I had to handle that situation. I asked my younger sister, yo, shout outs to you. Shout out to everybody in my family listening right now. It's really powerful to be able to have this platform and to have, these people that you love and care about see what you're doing. Because even if there's people who look like us, black people who are being affected by all these things that we're fighting against with Black Lives Matter, not everybody takes it seriously. The same way somebody who's Hispanic or white or whatever, the same way somebody who isn't black like can ignore it. There are some black people who choose to ignore it, and some of them are in my immediate family. But if you're taking the time to listen right now, hopefully I can change your mind, and we can be about this cause, because it's real. And so I thanked my sister. I was like, I rushed downstairs while like BigJon or JRoc was talking before, and I was like, get whatever you got to do, get a laptop or whatever, but put this stream on the TV and put the speakers on. And the same way I did that, I encourage everybody to do that. If you got headphones on right now, put the speakers on, dude. Let everybody hear this. And it's a shame that some of us are in situations where we fear for our survival to be able to do that. There's a lot of people, a lot of our I'll just say a lot of our white allies, or just allies who have parents or people who are taking care of them, or helping their situation, giving a place to stay. They might be afraid to speak up because they don't want that backlash. They don't they don't want that backlash. So you see it all the time. I read stories in chat. I read stories on Twitter and things. People talking about I'm so passionate about this, but I need a roof over my head. If I speak up, my parents gonna kick me out and things like that. And that's an issue that transcends Black Lives Matter. It's something that we shouldn't have a society where I take it back. That is part of Black Lives Matter, because we're fighting for equality for all. All lives can't matter until Black Lives Matter. So everything that comes with like society and being equal, that's what Black Lives Matter is about. And so the fact that people have to worry about being kicked out and not having a place to stay, or not having food on the table, or clothes to wear, or water to drink, because they decided to speak their mind, that's not right. That's not right. And for people those same people get mad about, you know, taking away your freedom of speech. Those same people who get mad at Drew Brees for apologizing and things like that. Those are the same people who talk freedom of speech, but you know, you're gonna kick out your daughter, somebody that came out of you because she's fighting for what she believing in. Take a look in the mirror, dude. And
LevelBest. So basically, when you were coming in, Chad was actually saying a bunch of stuff.
I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. No, continue.
I just want to say, like, what but you say what you need to say, and just give him a heads up.
Oh, okay. Wait, what did I walk in on? Catch me
it's
up.
fine.
I'm sorry. Okay.
Actions that we can take for change, but keep it going, my brother.
I
All good.
just wanted to say, you know, that mattered to me because, you know, and I gave my sister a hug when I came downstairs the second time and I saw that she had it set up. I turned on the speakers and I blasted it and I gave her a hug and I said, you know, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to do this, and thank you everybody who's really doing what it takes. And I came upstairs and I had my first breakdown this week. This whole week I've been keeping it together, you know, fighting for what I believe in, being the sole voice of this marathon from a black perspective. And I've had to stomach everything that I've been seeing and witnessing just so I can come out here and put on a show, you know, put on a show and fight for what I believe in, and, you know, and be black and be proud and, you know, be well versed and articulate. You know, it's been hard fighting back these tears and things. So, you know, I couldn't come back to the room. I had to go to my parents, dude. My dad opened the door and I just started crying and I gave him a hug. You know, he's asking what's wrong and things. I'm just like, I need a moment, dude. It hit me. And my mom, you know, it was amazing. It was like seeing an angel. You know, I saw her too. I gave her a hug and the same thing. And I'm crying. I'm starting to cry again because, you know, sometimes we need that. And I'm so glad. Thanks again to JRocTheGod and BigJon, and if anybody who's coming speaking from the black perspective on this matter. But it felt so good to know that I left when I stepped away, that the conversation was in good hands, and that's all I wanted to say.
And thank you, man. Like, honestly, you've brought meaning to this event in a way that none of us could have, and I thank you for it, honestly.
I'm just doing what I was put on this earth to do. That's it. We got like I said, we all have different beliefs and whatever. I believe that our job from the day we were born is to leave the world, make the world better than it was when we came in. So, you know, whatever I interrupted, continue. I'm done. Thank y'all for listening.
Thank you for honestly. Thank you for speaking up, brother. Like I said it. I'll say it again. I fucking love you, man. That's
thank you. Much love to you guys too. You and Squee. I'll be seeing you in chat, Squee. And I was hoping to God that when I was having that conversation with my parents, I didn't come back and like the Resident Evil 7 speedrun was back going. I was like, oh, don't let me miss this. so yeah.
Oh, you won't.
Go
We'll
ahead.
start it when we're done with all the important stuff. Whenever that is, we'll start again. Don't worry about it.
I was hoping it wasn't done while I was gone. This is what I'm saying. But go ahead, everybody, or whoever was speaking. I'm sorry.
Chad, still there?
Yeah, you guys definitely take the floor 100%.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that you know, I think when it comes to change, I think that a lot of what needs to happen is in all seriousness is voting, and a lot of people feel like, you know, their votes don't matter. They do. They really do. You know, I think that and voting specifically is one of the most important things to reform police brutality, to stop some policies that are in place that limit black folks from getting the things they need, or, you know, just getting assistance. Those things have to go. And the most important way to do this is to start small in your local county, you know, your local chamber of commerce, whatever you have in your area, and start small and slowly and steadily build up around the USA to making policies that go in place that can help the Black community, that can stop these police brutalities from happening, to outlaw some of the tactics that these police officers are unjustifiably doing. You know, there was no need for George Floyd, what happened to him, by any means whatsoever. If that had been outlawed, then that officer would have never done that. He might have wanted to, but he would have never wanted to do. He would have never done that. And I think it's so important to vote to make a difference. And also, I think it was LevelBest or BigJon who talked about, you know, talking to people that may feel uncomfortable about this. And there's a lot of folks out there who just, they put their heads down and they don't want to talk about this. And those are the ones we need the most right now. The silent majority right now are the ones that we need the most. So I implore you, everybody in chat, all hundreds that are here right now, if talk to somebody about it. It just takes one person. Just talk to one person about how you can make a difference, and that person will talk to one other person, and then it spreads. And talking about this in a peaceful way, I think is the way to start something beautiful that can change and make a difference out here. I didn't prep this very well. I mean, I just had some few talking points, but like, I believe in this cause 100%. And it starts with one: your area, your family members, your friends, anybody that you can get to. Don't focus on trying to talk to 1,000 people, but one person, because that one person, you can change that one person's life. And in the grand scheme of things, that person can make a difference elsewhere. And then it just spreads, and the love just spreads. And that, I think, is one of the best ways to peacefully mobilize and take the right action. So yeah, that's all I have. I just wanted to say a small piece about that and what we can do to make an impact in the world, because I promise you, what happens in your city and what happens in your county can reverberate throughout the rest of the world. I mean, there are protests happening in other countries right now supporting what the movement that's happening right here. And I think that if we focus on these 2 points, and don't be afraid to, because you're not alone. You know, there are people that are backing you up right now, and we're here together and we stand together. I think that can make powerful change for peace and love in our world. And that's what I wanted to share.
Well, Chad, thank you so much for coming up here as well. And, you know, like you said, really love, you know, just love, compassion, tolerance, equality. That's the pandemic we need right now. You know what I mean? Like, that's why I say, even if we change one person's mind, then that person can change another one's. Then it's a chain reaction, and hopefully, you know, it reaches far and wide. And as I mentioned earlier, before we even think about colonizing Mars, let's just fit our shit down here so that when we do expand beyond the stars, at least, you know, we start on the right basis.
We don't need the Space Force right now, okay? That is not what we need right now. We need love here in the streets, and just focus on the one. Make a connection with one person that maybe have a different point of view, and talk to them about it. And it might be uncomfortable, but I promise you, you are doing the right thing. Just talk about it, talk from the heart, and just, this is a human rights thing.
Mm-hmm.
This is a human rights thing. This is not political. This is human rights, guys. Every person here in this chat had, oh, sorry.
No, go ahead. Finish up. I have some things on my mind just to go ahead.
Yeah, yeah, that's that. I just, everyone can make a difference if we work together peacefully, and that's what I wanted to say. So thank you for letting me talk.
I just want to say, I had to step away for a bit. I had a little bit of a breakdown, so I don't know what topics were covered or whatever while you guys were talking and I was away. And again, no disrespect to you, Chad. When I came back, I was just happy to see that we were still talking, and like the marathon didn't continue. You know, I was just trying to make sure I got everything off my chest, or not just everything off my chest, but said what I had to say, because I didn't know where we were. It could have been like settling down and things like that. So I felt like I had to do what was necessary just to, bring things back up again in case it was settling down, because, as G Virus said, this is more important. So if I had any reason to think otherwise, that this is starting to die down, the moment it starts to die down, we need that spark to get it back up again. Don't get comfortable because we had some feel good moments, and you heard some nice stuff. Don't get comfortable. Keep going. So again, I want to apologize just from interrupt. Even if you were comfortable with the interruption, I do apologize for interrupting.
No,
worries, man.
100% take the podium, please. Yeah, that's okay.
And speaking of, we can't get comfortable. Don't get comfortable. Can we get another link to the 3-hour speech that I had with not just myself but my girlfriend of 5 years, Atomic L. We're an interracial couple, so we talked a little bit about my experience as a black male, her experience in America or in life as a Mexican female, and we also had an Eternal Enigma, talking as a host from his experience as a white male, Shokushu, Canadian origin, if I understand correctly, DD Gaming as well. We had a lot of different perspectives in a really thorough conversation that, what was supposed to be just like we are right now, pausing the game to take the time to talk about these things. The same thing happened 12 hours ago when we were running Resident Evil Dark Side Chronicles. But this stuff is important. So, bookmark it. It is a long video, and I again, I understand, people wanting to take breaks and relax. Don't be so into this like me, where you're risking your health. Like, I haven't slept in days. I haven't had 8 hours of sleep in days. But be healthy about it. But also remember that while we're taking our breaks or whatever, that it's still going on. Don't forget that it's happening, and don't forget it's your job to do something about it.
Yeah, exactly to add on to what Level just said, this is a marathon, not a sprint. We have to keep the energy going. Like, we're not going to undo centuries of this system with just 2 weeks of protest. There's a lot more work to be done. But on a much lighter note, don't think that voices aren't being heard. We still need to continue to speak out. Voices are being heard. I don't know if you guys have heard of what happened in Minnesota earlier today. With the city council have
just saw
announced
the
their
tweet.
intent to disband the police department. That's just a small start into what needs to be done all over. So we all just have to keep fighting. But part of keep fighting is making sure you're very well rested to do so. So don't forget to recharge those batteries.
Mm-hmm. In a perfect world, communities, people. There obviously, there's always going to be, like I said, there's always going to be some kind of prejudice, to people. Not everybody's going to like you, but the issue being is, you can't not like somebody just because of how they look, something they can't control. Hating somebody for something that they have no control over, that's one of the most important things that we're fighting for right now. And but yeah, in a perfect world, we'd have neighborhoods where, what is a neighborhood, right? It's a group of families and houses. When trouble happens, there's somebody responsible for that trouble. And if it's kids, it's the parents' responsibility to to pull your kids aside and say, "Yo, what you doing?" If it's an adult, it's the neighbors, it's the friends' responsibility to pull them aside and say, "Yo, what you doing?" And if everybody is on that same wavelength, then we wouldn't have no problems. Even with the world as it is right now at this moment. I personally believe, I've never dived into like politics and things like that. I don't know who our mayor is and things like that. I don't want to pretend like I do know, but I think that even if things at this moment, I know that the police don't come until you call them. I know that if everybody was watching everybody's back, then we'd be safe. I know that there's a lot of empty land and things that somebody has the rights to that isn't being used for fruit trees and nut trees and things like that people can benefit from. There's a lot of ways in our current, the way things are right now, before we make a reform to a system or whatever, in which we can do things. We all have yards. If everybody in the neighborhood had a different kind of fruit tree in their yard, what's stopping them from sharing amongst each other? Now everybody got food. We don't have to go to Walmart for food. We don't even have to worry about going to a job for food, because your job is taking care of your tree. Everybody take care of their trees. The whole neighborhood eats, right? But that's just the start. We need things like that. I feel like there's too much reliance on other people to solve our problems, but we could take care of this easy, dude. And if that's what we decided to do amongst each other as a community, anybody who's tried to stop that, for a fact that they ain't righteous. Because that, I don't know about y'all, but that sounds like a peaceful world to me. Anybody wanna touch on that? Hello?
We're all here.
Sorry, my mic was muted. I'm sorry.
Yeah, same.
No, I was gonna say I agree with you on every point. It's like I think, I don't want to use the term police ourselves, but I think we can do a good job of that if we are properly funding our communities and educating our youth, and not creating a system into which these things are needed. It'd be much better to do so, especially when the current system as constructed polices itself, which we have seen leads to no policing of itself.
Oh no, it polices itself. The system polices itself. It polices the same people that it was made to properly police and protect.
Yeah. But I'm saying, like, you've seen what the cases of things that have happened when they turn to these quote unquote internal investigations and result in paid suspensions, which is nothing more than a vacation, by the way. That's just what I was touching on.
That's crazy, dude. There's so many levels of injustice. Before I came into the stream, or I don't know if it was before I fell asleep earlier, I was reading about somebody who tweeted and about a man. There was a man who, and this trigger warning for you guys. I don't that's I'm still learning on how to conduct myself as like an influencer or like somebody speaking. So trigger warning coming up. There was a man who I read he molested 28 first graders or something like that, and he got 8 years in prison.
Yeah, I saw that. That was
8 years, dude. Somebody did the math. It's like, that's less than 3.5 months per kid. That's crazy as hell.
And those kids will still be in school too.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, and I'm not too familiar with the term. Again, no, I'm not perfect. Nobody's perfect. There's a lot of different things I have to educate myself on in regards to words and like the way this system works. But it was that when he was accused of doing so, 28 kids, when the school found out, they put him on, before it was proven, they put him on paid leave. I don't know exactly for how long that was, but as just to touch on what JRoc said, like, that's like, until we work this out, we got you, dog. And then once it's time to give him a sentence, I still got you, dog. That's the vibe that they send out. And I only read like 2 articles on it, and always I implore everybody and encourage you, anytime you see a story like that, don't get immediately mad when you read the headline. Get mad after you do your research and you find it that is true, because there's it's really easy to spread misinformation on the internet these days. Everybody's a journalist, So make sure you're getting the truth before you present the facts. So if anything that I say right now, I am clarifying that I'm not 200% educated on the topic, and if anybody else is, feel free to clarify. It was like it was in Ohio, I believe. You can Google whatever it is I mentioned it and find more, so you guys can attest to my statement. But it was 8 years, so they gave him 8 years, and at the bottom of the article, it was like the maximum he could have received was like 170 years or something like that.
That's disgusting.
Crazy.
That is disgusting.
So fucking infuriating.
And if we're gonna like shift it to the subject of rape, and I hate that word, but molestation, and as opposed to racism versus privilege, talking about the Central Park Five, who were innocent and still had to do that jail time. There wasn't any evidence against them other than the fact that they were black and they had to do that jail time. Someone wrote a book about that. Like, you're writing a book about things that didn't happen, and then we're talking about the case that anyone knows back in 2015, 2016 with Brock Turner, who intoxicated a woman, molested her behind a dumpster, and he got, what was it, 6 months?
Yep. I remember that one. And then there was this black kid who got accused of something wrongfully, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, and he got years.
Yeah.
It's for wrongfully accused, just like, but this frat white boy who has rich parents and can afford a good lawyer, scot-free pretty much.
Yep.
And while we're talking about money and the justice system and things like that, that's why we're here supporting the Bail Project. Do your research on the event. Let me tell you. Oh, somebody just typed it. Exclamation point charity if you want to know more. But the Bail Project is a fund. It's a bail fund. So, and it only helps people who are already proven innocent, and the only thing keeping them from going home is that they don't have the money to pay their bail. That's what we're doing. All these people out here getting slaps on the wrist and super duper sentences, and we know what's wrong, dude. Like, no way. Anybody who reads that somebody did that to 28, dude. That's a kid for every day of February.
Yep.
28 kids, 8 years.
And he got away with, well, lifetime for the crimes that he committed, whereas a black person would basically, even with wrongful accusation, we're not talking like, basically we have to compare apples to oranges, because on the one hand we have someone who's actually committed these crimes, and on the other hand someone who's innocent but happens to be black. They'll do more time than the actual criminal, even though it's proven that they're innocent. It's still gonna happen. And those people, those black people suffering that kind of injustice, they're who the Bail Project is helping. Because a lot of trolls, a lot of idiots are saying, oh, how do they know if this and that? I'm like, due process, the charges brought against them, the proof. So the judge has already ruled that this person is not a menace to society, and the only thing keeping them in jail is that they need to be posted bail, and that's the only thing. And that's the people that the Bail Project helps. And honestly, I'm just gonna say, you guys, I have a lot of donations queued up. So when we start this thing, I'm gonna have some fun. Trust me. And it's great to see that even though we're not running a game, we're talking about important stuff, and people are still supporting. Like, I wouldn't be surprised we get to that 10K goal before we even start again. And for that, I just want to thank everyone at home, and keep donating. It truly is an important cause and an urgent one. And that's direct action you can take to help people who are being wrongly held in a prison cell because, innocent until proven guilty, if you can actually afford it.
And I want to say about in regards to that dude I was talking about again, 28 first graders, by the way, with 8 years, they're still gonna be kids when he gets out of jail.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Think about that. And you say we have a lot of donations and things. I feel like we should emphasize the amount of unity that we have right now in this Discord, in this community. And if we could do something where like maybe we go one by one, just have different people in the chat right now read off donations instead of like one specific person. Even if it's just for one, everybody reads one donation. I think that'd be really cool to see.
Yeah, I mean, I don't.
Can I step in for something real quick?
Yeah,
go for it.
Because I actually need to go because I do have to. I got some planning to do for my own event, so I'm gonna have a long night. But
plug it away. By the way, let people know.
Huh? What? Huh?
Yeah, plug it. Put the information in the chat. Like let them know what's happening.
Really
okay. Okay, hold on. My brain is off.
I'll help you.
Okay, so I am doing an event on my channel next Saturday and Sunday, which I've called Stop and Cease, which I think there's a play on what we need to stop and cease right now, what's going on in the world. This is an event. It is going to be a speedrunning based event that will be supporting 9 different causes, all tied into what's going on. One of them being the Bail Project, and the other 8 being the Black Lives Matters Global Network, which was basically started from, our first thing, as I just talked about, in 2010. Advancement Project is also going to be supported, which is one that is made towards strengthening social movements and trying to basically have change in policy so that not just blacks, but all the multiracial civil rights are given to all of us, so that we can have the equality and justice that we're lacking, obviously, way too much. I got something to say about what Lo was just saying that actually directly affect me. We're also supporting Campaign Zero, which is actually a police reform campaign, which is trying to fix these police departments with 2 different platforms of what they're trying to fix within, things like excessive use of force, policing for profit, where they're trying to meet a quota per se to just do their thing, those kind of things. We're also supporting National Bailout, which is one that a lot of people are doing right now as well, which is made up of a lot of different lawyers and activists and whatnot to basically end and get rid of these detentions and mass incarceration type of things for people who actually shouldn't be having it in the first place. Get them out of there, obviously, just similar to the Bail Project as well. We're also supporting the Justice for Breonna Taylor cause, which is a little bit more recent, has happened since the Floyd incident. Many people already have heard about what was going on with her, how she was killed, and not even the right person. Just one of those. That one bothers me tremendously. It really does.
I hear you, man.
We're also going to support the National Police Accountability Project, which kind of sounds exactly what it is to make sure that kind of interesting with this disbandment of the Minnesota Police Department now happening, just in the past few hours, it seems here. But obviously this one is made to make sure that these law enforcement officers are held accountable for the things that they do that are basically violating the Constitution, laws of the U.S. We can have a whole discussion about the Constitution itself, but so when people, like I said, as opposed to them getting this paid administrative leave, they're getting what they deserve, but they're getting what they should have. It's funny that we talk about that because I actually saw a shirt recently that had like a brown, yellow, and white caricature of the thing, and below it had it said same crime, and then for the black person it said life, and for the blue, which was the officer, it said paid administrative leave. And it's just interesting how that shirt was made. But that, and we're also supporting the the People's City Council Freedom Fund, which is actually someone in my fraternal world. It's actually based out of LA, but it's specifically for LA because some things like the Bail Project and National Bail, they have things that do bail funds, but sometimes they're only in places where they have like their offices at. So this particular one is based for LA, which again does help pay legal support, bail fines, court fees, and whatnot for people who are arrested for protesting, who are doing, legitimate non-violent protesting, as well as help pay the medical bills for people who are protested and the people who are sent out to help them, the medics and all that. And this is relevant to Los Angeles area, which is a lot of stuff going on there too. So we're going to raise money and we're going to split the funds 9 ways across all of them.
John,
so,
can I interrupt you for like 10 seconds?
Sure.
Do you have the stream in front of you?
Yes.
What's the
look at there.
Oh my god.
10K.
Holy shit.
$229.
So I'm saving, like I said, I'm going to save
We
the
did
donation for
it.
Cat Link's run, but I'll read this one donation from Tiernaler who donated $800.
Oh my god.
This is by far the biggest donation No Reset's ever received. And they say no words are strong enough to say thank you for what you all are doing. Money means nothing if it cannot help change our world for a better place. # Black Lives Matter.
Let's fucking go. That's what I'm talking about.
I came back at a good time.
Go.
Yeah, let's go.
Let's go. Holy fucking
Put your
shit.
money where your mouth is.
Big thanks.
That's amazing.
Oh my god.
Now the question is, did they put it towards something?
Oh, no.
No, no, they didn't.
No.
They didn't. They didn't. But it looks like Mochi's in the lead still.
Like Shokishu's computer crashed and he was rebooting, and I was trying to signal him because he had headphones on. I threw his cap at him. I'm like, dude, are you following me? She's like, oh, I was rebooting. I'm like, dude, like.
Yo, can you read the name or post that name again in the chat? So
it's a Tiernaler. I'm probably butchering that, but that's who.
Thank you.
Oh my god!
I want everybody to thank him so much.
Cat Link, I'll let you decide how many olives you're gonna eat for this one.
Oh my goodness.
Wait. That's my person. Holy shit.
Yo, Tiernaler, thank you so damn much.
Oh my god, thank you so much.
Wow. Oh my god. So did he put that towards Enin Tofu by any chance?
No, he didn't.
Yo, we running tofu.
God. All right, John. I'm sorry.
We're still getting tofu. We got that 10K.
No. But John, I'm sorry. By the way, continue.
Oh, no, that's worth it, man. That's 5-digit world, man. You can't go wrong.
Yeah.
Man,
It's our first time breaking 10K USD. Last time because we broke 10K Canadian, but
I know that was on like 7,000 Canadian. So good. You rose in the right currency, man. Good job. So, but yeah, man, yo, congrats on that, man. Hopefully, I can follow in your footsteps, man. But like I said, we are raising, because there's so many causes, and I wanted to try to put them towards as many. It may be spread a little thin, but I want to kind of put the work, because there are a lot of, there's so many things out there, especially like I was saying earlier, like the businesses, like these businesses who are trying to rebuild back up, and some people, and like I said, that's why this week I've been trying to find, like if they have some kind of means to get funds to them that I can incorporate in the event, but I said this would be a good one. And again, I'll put the link in. Well, I have a link to my my Twitter that talks about it, has a link to the thing as well, because I actually have submissions open and they close tonight at midnight, and I know I have a multitude of people for it, literally a 2-day event. I think I have like 240 hours of submissions for 2 days of events, so I'm gonna have my work cut out overnight trying to go through this stuff. But that's what we're doing, man. So again, similar to what you all are doing and so many other people are planning, we're gonna try to do some speed running. Let the voice of the speedrunners be heard, so that we know we're not just gamers sitting on our butts doing nothing. but we're going to do something. And hopefully throughout I can, have a little parts here and there where we kind of just talk a little bit and whatnot amongst all the gaming. But I know I got all these people like, hey, is my run going in? You know how it gets when they have a speedrun event. Is my game going to get in? So I'm going to work on that. But yeah, that's next Saturday and Sunday. That's going to be on my stream, which is twitch.tv/BigJon. And we're going to try to support all 9 of these causes the best as we can, man.
Trust me, we'll spread the word as much as we can, and we'll host you, and we'll help out as much as we can.
Yeah, it's kind of good because, like I said, we fortunately I was able to work with the Yeti, which usually works with GDQ a lot for shirts. So they're actually they're actually going to basically put their site. They are going to work with me on this event and actually have an exclusive shirt made just for the event. In fact, their site will only sell that shirt at that point in time for the whole Saturday and Sunday, which is
holy shit,
pretty doggone cool, man. And they're going to donate. I think the shirt's going to be like $15, and they're going to put as much as they can, which I think is $10 of every shirt sale towards the causes. So
did you deal with?
What's that?
I was just going to ask. Did you deal with Len on this?
Yeah.
Like that guy's an absolute unit.
Yeah, he hit me up because we talked in the past about stuff, and but yeah, I told him that, and I even asked him for us chunkier people shirts up to 5X.
Let's go.
So if you want big seats, or maybe the small people want to have like a nightgown or something, hey, you can have it happen. So, but yeah, that's going to have that. They're going to donate, and even the people at GDQ are going to work on getting some promotion on it as well.
Amazing.
Which is cool. So I'm trying to use every outlet I can to get out there to let the people know, because I mean, not just that, but there's so many things, man. I'm trying to ping Twitch about this stuff. They retweeted it as well. One of the posts I made about it.
Are you gonna get the front page support on this?
Oh yeah, usually.
Awesome.
Ali,
usually, I'm guessing.
Well, usually I just go through. Since I have. So the cool thing is with Sinister and with Sinister being my partner manager and Rom Scout doing like charity, it's. As long as I get in the heads up, it's usually no problem. I don't know how long, but it's just, I think even if we have it or don't have it, there's enough word out for this and many other events to get some support. So, but yeah, that's going to be next weekend. And like I said, even while I've been sitting here, I'm trying to work on layouts. I'm trying to multitask. Dude, brother's tired. I'm tired, man. I'm so tired, man, because I've been, talking and stuff. But anyway, before I go, what TheLevelBest was saying about what they're doing to these young children. For those who don't know, I have 4 godchildren. The oldest, basically TheLevelBest age almost. She turned 21 in May, and the youngest being 6. And there's 3 girls, 21, 6, 14, and then the youngest girl 8, 14, 21. The youngest boy he's 6. But the 14-year-old did have to deal with an issue of rape, which happened a couple years ago, and so I'm the godchildren of them, of all of them, and it was one of the things that it was done by it was done by an officer. It was done by an officer in their school.
Motherfucker.
And when their dad told me, I mean, I'm up here, I'm so mad that I'm about to lose my clearance. I'm about to lose my job because it just and you see that, and it was one of those things. Just like, and I was talking about, just like Beth said, they put this. Again, I'm not an R-rated person, but they put this guy on his little leave with pay. Hey, enjoy your vacation when you decide to do something just horrific and disgusting to a 12-year-old at the time. And we were trying to deal with that stuff. This was a white guy, black girl, and then it's just like, and and for years we've been trying to get her mentally over that, you know, and that's a challenge of its own. And it's just like one of those things that you see someone do for absolutely no reason. Like you can't even. Like, I don't know where to even get the thought process of why some guy, I think he was like 52, 50 freaking 2. This guy's old enough to be her grandfather. You know, and it's just.
Everything I'm thinking right now is stuff I can't say on stream. That's all I'm gonna say.
And
we all are there.
And it's like I have been like I'm so close to these people because I mean I've watched them grow up over the years. I mean when I was in college I was babysitting these girls of mine and it's just like that shouldn't be like just like certain things that happen. There shouldn't even be no like. Like I said, don't worry, we'll take care of you. You know, I mean, I know, you know, you want to have the whole innocent until proven guilty type thing, but man, when that's your charge, you know, there's no like, there's no breathing room in something like that. It's like there's like, and it took like, you know, 14 months to get a resolution to that. Well, they decided to fire him. You know. Fire him and give him like, you know, 4 or 5 4 years of probation or something. Like,
what?
No jail time. No jail time.
No jail time at all.
No jail time. No.
Wow.
No, they were. I don't know if this has to be because they were in Texas. I don't know the laws of Texas on that kind of stuff. But
what
the fact that we have to question what the laws are on that kind of stuff is ridiculous.
And again, I graduated high school from Texas. Okay, so I'm not trying to bash the state, but something is wrong there. Something is seriously wrong. First of all, how long it takes for a resolution, and then that's the resolution. That's all you get. And I had to tell, and like her older sister was like, she's like, cause he calls me, her older sister calls me BigJon. Even when we was going, like BigJon. But anyway, she maybe not the way JRocTheGod says it, but of course, you know, he still says it. But she was like, yo, I'm gonna hurt this guy. I'm like, look, Evie, don't do it. You got to think wise here. It sucks. Trust me. We'll see your sister go through that, and. When you were talking about that, man, I'm sorry. It's just the first thing that popped into my mind because it's just like we've been trying to get over that for so many years, and I mean, I'm a guy. I can't relate to her. I can't even. How do I tell her? I mean, her mom is just.
I know.
What do you do, man? So it's just like that stuff and all of this. It's like you want to fight, and sometimes you feel so discouraged that man, is this even going to do anything? You try so hard, you're talking, you're engaging people, you're getting people active and stuff, and it's like, and then it's like that, you know, you're taking one step forward and you get knocked 30 steps back, and you got to keep going back. It's like, can we get to that? I believe we can, but man, that road is just as rough as heck to get there, man. It's like trying to, you know, drive on a treadmill. You're trying to go forward and the treadmill's pulling you back. It's just, and when you see stuff like that, and to realize that, man, that's all y'all got. That's all you plan on doing. And of course, who knows? I can only imagine. I'm probably sure we're just full of, you know, the people who make those decisions. Like, what is wrong with you all? Like, what if it was your daughter? What if it was your daughter? You'd be.
Oh man, if it was my daughter,
you'd be preaching. You would probably kill them yourself.
I would get 25 to life. I'm not even joking. If this was my daughter, I would get 25 to life. And I probably shouldn't be saying this on stream, but honestly, anyone who thinks differently, like there's something wrong with you.
I mean, I'm not a parent. I don't have a child of my own, but you know, most parents, when your child is going through something like that, there's no bounds to your fury when it comes to protecting your child. You know, I think it's just something it's just reaction. It's just a reflex thing. If you see someone going after your child.
It's in your DNA. It's just it's human
That's
nature.
GG for that person.
Oh man, GG no reset on that
You
motherfucker.
know, and to even have to go through that. Like I said, her father didn't even tell me until like I don't know, like a few weeks after it happened because he didn't know how to handle it. You know, he had just got another job. You know, just moved to Texas, trying to take care of his family with a promotion, and he has to like react in a way that's not going to jeopardize his whole family. You know, but still, you know, it's just whew. So I just thought that, man, and it just kind of reminds me of the things that we got to fix in our in those police systems, and hopefully some of the things like the police accountability project that we're raising money for can help out with those things so that these cops aren't doing stuff like that in the first place. I mean, dude, it's one of those cops in a school. We're talking about in a elementary school.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even know what kind of stuff even goes on in elementary school in the first place. You know, I mean, it ain't like it's high school, but it's. I mean, when I was in elementary school, you stayed in the same classroom all day. You went to lunch, you came back, and then you rode the bus home. I don't know what's going on nowadays, but it's just, man. So, like I said, man, I say all that just to say that, you know, all of us doing this, you know, the 10K raise and all this stuff, which is beyond amazing and fantastic that has been done. But
this event has gone beyond all my expectations, man. I'll be real with you. I'm so happy. You know, it's amazing, and you know, we'll keep this momentum in mind, people. Like when we move on to the run, keep that momentum. Let's just keep it going. Take it as high as we can.
Yeah, you all shoot. Don't stop telling people about it until the event is no more. And just, you know, do what you got to do. Stay vocal. Like I said, Beth said, don't let it die. Even though this stream can't go on for 785 business days, whenever it does die.
Move on to the next stream.
Dude, yeah, don't neglect your streams. Don't be scared to talk about on your streams. Don't be scared to engage someone about it. If like I said, this ain't. I mean, I know I have my stream of being comfy, and even people in my chat last week said, "Look, this gonna be a little uncomfy for you all because it's real. This is what's happening." Some people like to avoid those. Now, I'm not a big person that wants to bring up controversial topics. I don't want to sit here and debate something like abortion. Oh, that was like the scary topic in high school. Like, talk about that. But it's one of the things that this right now, don't be scared to talk about. You ain't got to talk about it all day long, but don't be scared to engage that conversation because that's how things happen. Everybody sitting on their butts being silent does nothing. It's like I said, it's just going to fade away, and that whole circle of life repeats itself when it fades down, and history's repeating itself until the next black person is killed, and then here we go again.
But we got to break the wheel, and I think there's a dent for once. So let's just keep going at it.
Yeah, we need to demolish that wheel and just stop that whole wheel from rolling so we can get this done, man. It's just we gotta do it, man. And so, like I said, that's what But yeah, that's what I want to do. But yeah, my event is going on. There's other people doing events too, more than I can even keep up with because I know I've been asked to do stuff. And I know, by the way, this may be a little early, but for those who are familiar with GDQ, we're actually working on getting a black run show on the channel.
I was going to say that was one of the things I wanted to start organizing, like basically give the spotlight to the black community, whether it's a full marathon or a community spotlight. Like, I don't know which capacity, but it will happen.
Well, I tell you what, I know that because I've been talking to them for a while about stuff like that. I know this week they will be featuring black runners throughout the week awesome. On their channel, but they also and even I told them for a lot of organizations that promote diversity and want to be diverse, it's one thing to say it and it's another thing to actually do it. So I've always strived to say, hey man, get a little chocolate up in there somewhere. So, You know, ain't nothing wrong with the cream, but we need some chocolate with that cream. You know, you ever seen an Oreo with, you don't buy Oreos cream only or chocolate only. So,
but yeah, I mean, that's something we want to do. I was gonna ask you actually, but then I felt like I just had to take a backseat to the whole thing.
Well, I will tell you that I am working with GDQ.
Awesome.
We're going to be starting. I can't go too much into it, but I know there will be something I'm involved in that will hopefully most likely be a regular thing that will feature Black folk. That will start, and and I will be working with someone with it, and that hopefully that show will be running indefinitely on their channel as often as every week.
Oh, that's amazing.
Wow.
So I'm actually working on that now. I started working at one of my projects this week here, and I'm hoping that again I kind of want to hurry up and get that going, but I got to get this get my plates cleaned off a little bit so I can kind of focus on that and all that stuff. But again, it's one of those things, like a many things that, well, what took so long, But it's like, you know what? At least the thought was there, and I wish it had happened years and years ago. But you know what? It's here now, and let's act on it. So again, it's going to be something that's going to be obviously it's going to be speedrun theme. We can't just sit here and be going Oprah up on GDQ's channel, But it will have a speedrun theme to it, but it will also bring to light as well, hopefully, things that are relevant of Black folk.
Well, you heard it here first, folks.
So
let's
go. I don't know, but it's in the future. It's in the near future. I promise you that.
Oh,
I promise you that. So that's a fantastic thing. So especially on a platform that does have a lot of visibility, and of course it may be a challenge because you hear some things, pros and cons, negative here and there about everything, honestly. But you know what? Who cares? Because you don't like it, dude. All that for. Go find something to do.
There you go.
So I'm done, you all. But I need to get ready and bounce because I got you. Come, my mom is.
It's all good, man. I mean, we got to get to that run at some point. But I mean, I know.
Oh, there's a marathon happening. What run? What?
But I know Secret and Smashing wanted to share some words, and we'll do that, and we'll get back to our regular programming. But once again, I just want to keep the momentum going and try to raise as much money as we can for the Bail Project. And but once again, everyone who's in this Discord channel, everyone on Twitch chat, everyone watching at home, thank you from the bottom of my heart for making this event something that is so much more than what it was meant to be, and giving it purpose. This is an event that has purpose, and you can't plan that. It just happens. And it did, and I'm forever grateful for that. To say this is something I'll look back in my old days and I'll be like, you know what? This weekend we all came together and we did this thing.
Yo, let's make it a holiday, dude. This is Twitch history. I guarantee. Maybe not on this scale. As far as I know, I ain't never seen no thing like this, especially with a speedrun marathon. If not for Twitch, definitely for a speedrun marathon, like a charity event. Like, no, if it has, point me to those people so I can go, follow them and subscribe and support them. But this has been crazy.
We'll put out the VODs, and you people will be able to share it. Everyone at home here, share it far and wide, because a lot of important stuff has been discussed here, and a lot of important voices have been heard, and we just need to spread the word even further. So yeah, basically, I see Sikri is unmuted already. Do you want to share some words?
Sorry, I didn't want to spam the button. I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
Sorry. It's just that I am going out soon. But I just wanted to say a big thank you for the speeches. I'm from a racist family where my dad especially didn't have a beautiful view of other people. And so when I grew up, I didn't understand why my dad has hatred So I grew up in the understanding that there's something wrong with people, and I never understood it. So now I'm 30 years old. I'm a grown woman. I've suffered through many shit in my life, and now what I see is a black man killed just because of his color. And I'm shocked. And I'm baffled because I thought that that's something that should not be happening. And I'll never understand why those things, I don't understand the hate. And I'll never understand it because for me, the color is just a color. Each individuals are beautiful, are cool, awesome. And I'll never, never, never endorse that kind of shit towards the black community. And to be honest, and before I get my head popped like a bottle of Pepsi, I was the kind of person who was like, oh, all life matters. And when I saw like little sketches about, well, I was believing that because for me, everyone's matter, right? But then I saw the little sketches saying, yeah, but it's like you have a house on fire. I was like, yeah, so you take care of the house on fire. That makes sense. And it's like, that's what the Black Lives Matters are into. So they don't like, how can I say that? It's like they disregard others' lives. It's just for now, we have to focus on them. It was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. So now I diverge my perception of things to go into that sense. And so I just wanted to say that even if you believe in something, sometimes you can change. And if I change, I think everyone can. And I strongly believe that if we all do that and we try to actually see what other people feels and what they have in their heart and what they have been struggling against, we can actually make a better world. And I'm extremely sorry for every person who has suffered through what happened. And I just wanted to be a little Canadian voice that just wanted to give you all a big hug and so much smooch and squishy hugs because for me it's important so that I cannot understand what you guys has lived through because sadly my pale white hands cannot turn into something more darker and just hey, I'm something that I'm not. So no, I cannot understand your struggle, but what I can is when I see someone of color that lives through something like that is to give the help I can. When I'm working, I do my very best that every person that are not from here are fully welcome, feel loved, and they are like feel that they can talk to me. And it's not big like in the worldwide sense, but in my field, I work in the health field. For me, it's important that when I have a patient, they feel comfortable. Otherwise, I feel like my job has no purpose. So I just wanted to say I try to be positive, and I just wanted to say a big thank you for the speech, for the education, and I just wanted to be positive. So yeah.
Well, thank you, Secret, for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
So I'll leave you guys do more things, and thank you again, and have a very good run.
Thank you. Have a good night. Take care.
Virus,
Take care.
Virus, I just want to say something before leaving and just be in the chat. I just want to say that you guys, you have that spark in you that could change things. Speak up and talk. We need to break that cycle of history. I'm counting on you guys. Stand up, fight for equality, and do not forget to spread love no matter where you come from. I love you all.
Hell yeah, man.
We love you too, man.
Love you,
And I
man.
just want I just want to say that we're no longer on the front page. We haven't been since 8 p.m. and we still have 766 people listening. And I'm pretty sure that each and every single one of them has that spark.
Yeah.
So
NoReset Speedrun, thank you for having me, guys.
It was a pleasure.
You guys are awesome. LevelBest. I don't know you personally, but thank you for stepping in.
Oh, your
And
mic's cutting out. I think.
Thank you.
I didn't hear that. I'm so sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was saying thank you for stepping in, and you have my full support.
Thank you.
Yo,
Thank you, Hurry Boy.
Much appreciated. Thank you.
We'll see you again soon. Don't be a stranger.
Yes, sir.
All right. Bon, ben, au revoir, mon ami. Puis merci encore vraiment beaucoup.
Avec plaisir. Ce fut un plaisir.
Malgré mon faux français. Bon, all right. Smashfeed wanted to share some words before we go back to the runs.
Oh no, here we go. Alright, so I decided to actually came in here because I was basically talked into this with Hurry Boy, because while you guys were giving your speeches and everything about the Black Lives Matter and All Lives Matter and things like that, that we were talking, and I was saying to him about like that I've never really been educated in all of this much growing up, and I think I was about 15, 16, something like that, that I actually saw a black boy just sitting on his own outside with his cousin with a little football. And I actually initiated the conversation with him, which was pretty big for me at the time because I was a really big introvert, which I'm sure I kind of assume that most of us gamers can like associate with, because that I don't know, I guess that we don't really go out much anywhere. But like I went up to him because I really wanted to make more friends around my estate, and I didn't really know many people at the time. And then I asked him if it was cool to play football with him and his cousin, and then he was actually nice enough to like acknowledge me and say that yeah, you can join us. And then we played for a few hours around with football, and then I actually found out that when we both had to go inside to get some food, that he actually lived right next door to me, which was even more interesting because I knew that he lived next to me, which therefore gained us each other as like a friend. And then after like a few months talking to each other, that we became best friends. And I just thought that I'd actually like to put this story out there. And I was saying to Hurry originally that I don't think that I should come here to share like a story like that, because I really didn't think that it would make a difference. But he made me realize that coming from a white guy, going to a person of color and bridging that gap to make friendships could actually make a difference. And that's why I'm here today, because he talked me into coming into the Discord and then sharing that story with people. And I'd like to say that like it doesn't matter of the color, like everyone always said, like black, brown, white, green, it doesn't matter. Like everyone should bond together.
And true words couldn't have been spoken, my friend. Thank you so much.
Sorry if I was a bit like all over the place, because
No,
I was
you're
really
fine.
No, man,
as well.
do not worry at all. And
I was even saying to Hurry as well that I was like so fucking nervous, like coming on here, like I was typing into him with my left hand like slightly shaking as well.
Oh.
And like on Twitch as well, that this was before all the streaming that I was doing as well, by the way. And being given a streaming platform to like make more friends along the way, including Hurry. I've known Hurry for I think 5 years now, and he's become one of my best friends on Twitch as well. And I feel like that's going to help a lot by everyone having a platform to spread these messages on.
well, you know this saying, when you're a speedrunner, the gold splits are the friends you made along the way.
Ooh, I never heard that before. That's awesome.
That was deep.
Well, thank you everyone for all of this. honestly, I'll say this: I'm exhausted, and I've never been so happy to be exhausted because this matters so fucking much. And to see how many people came in to talk, to share their thoughts, and once again, big shout outs to Cat Link and Spoopy Penguin for stepping aside and leave the stage to those voices that needed to be heard far and wide. Thank you so much to both of you for being such good sports and amazing human beings. Thank you.
Of course, no problem.
And I want to say real quick before Smash Fiend goes, if I recall correctly, yesterday during your Resident Evil 2 run, right? G-Virus and I were going back and forth, of course talking about a much more important topic, but all the while, you didn't really have a chance to speak. And I appreciate you coming back, after that to speak to it. And I really do appreciate that, because I do remember you from yesterday. I have a lot of fond memories from everybody that I was able to have the chance to host and communicate with. A lot of times at these events that I've seen, the NoReset has such a great connection, I feel, between like the host and the runners in the chat and stuff. How it's all connected and the synergy amongst them. I almost never see it in some more popular speedrunning events. So know that I love and appreciate you guys for everything you're doing for this cause, and then I pay attention. Shout out to Mango Punch from Australia, spreading his speaking his experience during his Resident Evil 2 run. And thank you, Smash Fiend.
And I'm glad that
thanks.
Thank you. And one thing that I'm glad is that there's one constant throughout everyone that's been speaking from around the globe, and it's that this needs to end. That's the consensus, no matter from 3 different continents, well, 4 really. We pretty much covered the whole planet, and everyone agrees on one thing, and it's that this needs to go away. This needs to be part of a history, lest we forget. But we need to make sure also that when the day comes where racism and bigotry is a thing of the past, to never forget what it was, so that it never comes back again.
It's like buried in the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've all like blown us all away, I'm sure, because it's pretty insane to see all these people coming together trying to help spread the word of the Black Lives Matter. It's honestly been great. And I'm really thankful for NoReset speedruns and everyone making me feel welcome and everything, because coming into this marathon, I was so nervous. You guys have no idea.
Oh my god, we just got a big dono. Take a look, G.
What?
We got another one?
No,
Yeah.
what the?
Say what now?
Wait.
I don't see the number.
No,
change.
well, I'm gonna have just pay attention
Oh
to
my
the second digit.
Oh my gosh.
Hold on.
It's coming.
Oh my goodness.
We got another one.
We got.
Wait, what?
So
11.
Yeah, tabarnak.
Oh.
I'm gonna quote Namajnag and say tabarnak because Yassi Hop. Yassi Hop
Yassi
just dropped
Yassi. God.
our very
my
first
God,
4-digit
Yassi.
donation.
Oh my god.
4-digit
Oh,
United
Yassi.
States dollars, and we never had 4 digits even in Canadian, even in funny money. $1,000. And they say, over the past few weeks, the things I have seen made me speechless. To see people treat others in such a way without a care or second thought must come to an end. So come on, spread the change, share the love and kindness. Speak up and be the change for the future. Also, I just sniped tofu.
I see you.
Whoa! Oh
my
God!
Yassi, thank you so much.
Yassi actually she speedruns Resident
Yeah,
Evil 7 as well.
she's also an RE7 runner.
Oh my God! Thank you so much, Yassi. Honestly, I'm speechless. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay.
This is so amazing to be a part of, guys.
Oh man,
I'm completely
it's amazing.
Just like
We got some stretch? Do we have some stretch goals around here?
Can we do some more here? Or?
I mean, how many olives do you have, Kat?
I have a whole jar of olives. I honestly, I was like, okay, I gotta eat one. We hit 9K. Okay, I gotta eat two. We hit 10K. And now I'm like, you know what? Okay, I'll add another one.
Okay, so one olive for each $1,000 that we get from this one.
I was actually gonna do for every $500. So if we hit 10,500, I was gonna eat another one. If we hit 11K, I was gonna. Now I gotta eat two of them. If we can hit 11,500, I'll eat another one every 500 until the end of my run.
All right, so right now you're at 3, and at 11,500 we're at 4. Gotcha.
And I hate olives so much. They're so terrible.
I know it's by your voice.
Oh.
Spotify because of the characters.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my god.
But Yossi, thank you so much.
Okay, well, I think now is the right time to actually. What we're gonna do? We're gonna go to a quick break because I'm pretty sure.
Some of us gotta go to the bathroom, probably.
Exactly. Yeah, I gotta go to the bathroom, and I'll get a little refreshment to keep myself hydrated. So we're gonna take a quick break. Stay tuned, everyone. Do not go anywhere. We're going to be right back with the final runs, which is Resident Evil with its DLC by Cat Link, followed by Spoopy Penguin, and closing off the marathon because honestly, you've blown my brains. Like, I need to clean my walls, my floor, and everything. Like, my Roomba is going to be full of
reasons.
My Roomba is going to be full of gray matter, and I'm not talking about dust or lint.
No.
But we'll close off with Resident Evil 2, and unless, it's still going. That bid war is still going, but Tofu seems to have this on lock. But then again, I said the same thing about Flan earlier. So keep in mind that Flan is only $200 behind Tofu, even a little bit less than that, because Terran Alert forgot to put the incentive. But at this point, you know what? Like, we'll just manually, keep track. And so stay tuned, and we'll be right back. Once again, I just want to thank BigJon, JRocTheGod, TheLevelBest, Chad Thorson, Hurry Boy, Catlink, Marforia, Chokushu, Smash Fiend, VGR, and if there's anyone I forgot because they left the channel, I'm so sorry. My brain's a little bit mush right now. But honestly, Sikriria, who came by to share some words as well, I just want to say thank you. Thank you so
Thank you guys
much.
so much.
Yeah,
thank
you guys.
Thank you for speaking with your whole damn chest.
Oh man, honestly, thank you. So we'll go take a little break, and we'll be right back. Stay tuned.